Lore dump.
Hello and welcome to Lore Dump, the show where we take someone who hasn't played a game or game franchise and walk them through the full story. I am your host for today, Neil, and I am joined by...
SPIDAMAN? Monty, sorry.
And...
SPIDAMAN! Chase.
God damn it, there's already two of them. Thwip thwip bish, it's time to delve into the world of Marvel's New York and join Neil's favourite superhero on a journey of a lifetime.
Batman?
No, Batman's not my favourite superhero. It's Spider-Man, as I've just said.
Batman's my favourite superhero. You got the two confused.
Chase, you're making this clear, but it would be fair to say you're not the biggest superhero person.
To be fair, of all superheroes, Spider-Man's probably my favorite.
But how much do you know about the webhead?
I mean, he's the one that I grew up with the most.
Yeah.
Obviously, because he had the most cartoons and video game tie-ins.
Yeah. Lots of video games.
So, more than basically any of the others. And I've seen every one of his movies.
Excellent.
Every one.
Fantastic.
Not played the game, though.
Perfect.
Should I preemptively say the thing about how I bought the game but then didn't actually buy the game?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what happened there?
Because I bought Miles Morales thinking that Miles Morales was a DLC and thinking that the Miles Morales one that I bought on Steam was like the ultimate edition of the game, the package that had the base game and the Miles Morales DLC, and then only later found out that Miles Morales is in fact not a DLC.
That is a standalone game.
And because of that, I never got the original, and I never played Miles Morales, I've never played it.
We are today going to be using slides from a playthrough of the sort of packaged version of the game, which was the remastered version done for the PS5.
With Miles Morales?
No, it included all the DLC, but not the standalone/expandalone game, Spider-Man Miles Morales, which we will be covering in a future episode, as well as Spider-Man 2, provided this doesn't go terribly. Spider-Man is my favourite hero.
Why?
So don't ruin this, Chase.
Spider-Man is my favourite hero. I'll tell you exactly why.
Please do.
He's not in control of much in his life. He's constantly broke. He's constantly overwhelmed. He can barely hold down his job. He struggles. He gets hit. He gets knocked down. But he is always striving to be greater and to inspire hope in others. Even when he has very little himself. He's quite bad at a lot of things, I suppose, is part of the reason I like him. But he never gives up and he never loses his sense of humour.
I like that he shoots webs.
Yeah, that too. You know what, Monty? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. He goes swing, swing, take photo.
Yeah.
I also think that he has the best rogues gallery.
Since the 1990s, most Spider-Man games had been developed by Activision, with a mix of results, but most games were generally well reviewed. And their spell included now legendary games like Spider-Man 2.
Ooh, great game.
Yeah. In 2014, Marvel made the decision to terminate the partnership with Activision, citing they needed to find a better home for the IP, somewhere where a developer wouldn't be beholden to tie-in games on an extremely tight turnaround. They ultimately wanted a series that could go toe-to-toe with WB and Rocksteady's Arkham series, which we've covered in the past. Marvel's Games VP was quoted as saying they needed a publishing partner who hadn't adopted the crappy licensed game mentality. Pretty brutal.
I miss those
it's
days.
a fair take, though.
An Activision spokesperson responded, quoted at the time saying, "Good luck finding your unicorn." Marvel initially considered Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony before discounting the former and turned down by Microsoft, who wanted to focus on building their own IPs.
Oh dear!
just the list of bad decisions is just legendary.
They also turned down Destiny. It was supposed to initially be an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, the growing list of just terrific decisions made by the Microsoft execs in the last generation is wonderful.
Phil.
Eventually, a deal was worked out with Sony, and Insomniac Games agreed to take on the challenge of creating the next great superhero franchise. Let's get it.
Let's do it. Swing, swing.
We open on a window in a New York apartment. A spider works its way down a web as the camera pans round, revealing a messy bedroom. Pictures of a loving family, police scanners, dead plants sit on the shelves, comics,
So me.
Half-eaten takeaway, tools and scientific diagrams litter the surfaces. Front pages of the Daily Bugle are pinned to a wall. You can see here he's got a very unsuccessful set of funds, little jars. He's trying to save money, and vacation has nothing in it. Your laptop has a couple of dollars in it.
Yeah.
Front pages of the Daily Bugle are pinned to a wall. Will Scorpion sting or sing? Vulture squawks. Fisk, crusader or criminal.
Crusader for sure.
And Rhino's rampage roadblocked. A phone buzzes. A police alert calling out for all units to make their way over to Fisk Tower. A bleary-eyed boy grabs the phone and rouses himself from sleep. He jumps out of bed, throws some toast in a toaster. It's a kind of automated toaster. He's built this little thing on the side. So how much this comes across in the movies, but Spider-Man in the comics and in these games is a kind of technical genius. He's a great scientific mind.
I didn't get the impression from the movies. I got the impression from Disneyland.
There you go. Is that a real focus at Disneyland?
It is. He has an entire tech campus made for him.
I'm wearing the SPIDAMAN
Monty's wearing the jacket.
Yeah, and it's all from a science fair and stuff. It's all very cool. I love it.
Yeah, he's not in the comics. He's not, quite on the level of like Mr. Fantastic, Doctor Doom, Black Panther. Like he's not quite on those the greatest intellects of all time, but he is a legitimate scientific genius.
I think
He's still an S tier brain.
Yeah.
It's just you've got like an S plus tier.
And a very chaotic lifestyle doesn't help him implement it very well.
I don't think the Marvel movies are doing much justice because he's got his little guy in the chair who does all the science for him.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. So he throws his toast in the automated toaster thingy. So basically, he chucks it across the room. It lands perfectly, and it automatically pushes it down.
I'm showing how much focus we're giving this toaster.
He sniffs a day-old Spider-Man suit, recoiling at the smell. Munching on his toast, he pulls on the suit.
Question.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can stop me if we're gonna get to this. So we're obviously not starting with the bite. Rawr. No. How long has he been Spider-Man by now? He seems like he's very well established by now.
We'll get a little hint in the upcoming scene, but a long time. He's been doing this for years. This is not an origin story. Cool. He is established. He's not in school. He is an adult.
Is he?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. He has been Spider-Man for a bit. I want to say mid 20s. Yeah, nice. Around mid 20s.
Nice.
He pulls on his suit as a letter is posted through the door. Urgent, final notice, past due, addressed to him, Peter Parker.
Pay your bills, Peter.
He looks between the letter and the phone. The police alert asking for SWAT assistance. And you just see very quickly, he's very torn between real-life responsibility and Spider-Manning.
Because with great power comes great
bills.
He
He turns and throws himself out of the window, diving down before swinging out into the bustling city. We swing majestically through the streets of New York and call our contact in the police, Yuri Watanabe. Did you take him? No, Yuri says. We're at Fisk Tower, but I'm still waiting on the warrant. Mind if I join the fun?
There's some real violent police.
Jesus.
It's
not the police.
Oh, are they not? He's the baddies.
These are baddies.
She tells him that you know how the lawyers are. This one needs to go through the book. Spider-Man says, come on, Yuri. I've been waiting 8 years for this. As we fly towards Fisk Tower, Peter is called by his boss at work. Parker, where are you? We must run through the demonstration at least once before the grant committee arrives. Sorry, yes, dealing with a personal issue. I'll be in soon, promise. Hangs up. Better wrap this up quick, then get to my real job.
How many times do you think he's used that excuse on his boss? Personal issue. Man, it's weird. Every time he has a personal issue, Spider-Man's about. Wonder what that's.
Why don't you keep track for this game alone? Because it's a lot.
I will start a notepad document right now.
What's quite cool is, so obviously the vast majority of the game is spent fighting or swinging through the city. Much of the dialogue of this game is delivered while you're traversing through the city. I'll just get out there now. A lot of the key information is translated on phone calls to and from Spider-Man as we're swinging through the city. And there are multiple readings of the dialogue in the game. So if you're standing stationary on a roof, the read is a little bit different to if you're swinging through the city, because he kind of puts on a "I'm swinging right now" kind of thing to his voice. It's a great attention to detail.
I love the thought they had him re-record the same lines several times in a different direction.
We swing towards the tower where Yuri and her men are under heavy fire from Fisk's goons. If Fisk gets away now, Yuri knows they'll lose him for good.
Sorry, I know I'm jumping in a lot. I'm sorry.
No.
Who the fuck is Fisk?
Wilson Fisk. We're gonna meet Fisk shortly.
I feel like this is a lot of like people know the established lore, and
Well,
here's a
good bit of background. We arrive at Fisk Tower, and it's got a very deliberate. We've got a very deliberate gold Fisk lettering mirroring the lettering on Trump Tower. So there's Yuri Watanabe, who is our friend of the police. We land next to her, and there's just gunfire exploding all around us. Peter's kind of like, I'm actually gonna go and, she's like, go and do your thing, and Peter goes, yes.
Spider-Man, friend of the cops in this game, notoriously.
We swing towards the tower. Today's the day, Willie. Willie is Wilson Fisk, just if you didn't.
He just calls him Willie to remind him that he has a little Willie.
We swing up towards the tower, grabbing one of the armed men on the way and using him to smash a window.
Dead.
Spidey lands in the lobby and begins to make short work of a small army of henchmen. So this is kind of our combat tutorial. We'll very briefly touch on the gameplay because obviously it is a key part of this game that you're missing out on. It is fantastic.
Yeah, it's
great.
It is
from the movement and the traversal, the swinging, which we know some people have some complaints about because it's not as, you don't have as much control as like the old PS2 game or whatever, but it is fantastic.
And I love the gadgets.
And the combat itself is fantastic. It's been tough to get screenshots for because it's very fast and fluid, and there's almost a really nice rhythm to it when you're playing it. You kind of lock in and almost zone out and flip out the way of things, and so Spidey, because we've got Spidey Sense, which in this game is our flashing warning before something happens, can like fully dodge gunfire, and it's good fun.
Well, that's good because I was thinking that in this picture he's very much perched in the open, no cover, while there's a bunch of people with machine guns.
Provided there's space, we can just start swinging around the room, at free will, just because it's indoors doesn't mean we can't do that.
Yes.
As we fight, though, it's clear that a lot of the cops here don't like Spidey's presence and would rather he wasn't here helping. It would seem that Yuri is generally in the minority in terms of considering Spidey an ally.
What is it, like a pride thing? Or?
Yeah, there's a lot of like, we got this, Spider-Man, go home, Apologies for the accent. I will not be stopping. As the other key component to Spider-Man and to fighting baddies is, of course, quips. And my God, this is a quippy Spider-Man. As we fight, we are constantly barraging enemies with punches, kicks, and quips. For example, one of the first ones we hear when Fisk men open fire is, I guess this is what they call a hostile work environment.
No response from Chase.
I will be laughing at none of these.
We fight our way through the building. Fisk has closed down the elevators, so we run up the elevator shafts. That's another thing we can do, is run on walls.
Sure.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. As we continue to head through the building, the goons tear up the space with machine guns and rocket launchers. At one point, while this is all happening, Pete gets a call from his Aunt May. What's all that noise? I'm watching a superhero movie. What's up? She just wants to check we're still on for dinner tomorrow night.
In universe, do they have superhero movies? Is there a Marvel making Iron Man movies?
In this universe, the Avengers are a thing. I'll just say that now.
Well, I think I did know this because it's the same universe as the really, really bad Avengers game, isn't it?
No.
I thought it was.
There's okay. So later on, Chase, we will see AIM boxes with AIM on the side of it. AIM is an organization in the Marvel universe, and AIM are the baddies of the awful Marvel's Avengers game. And Spider-Man in Marvel's Avengers is voiced by Yuri Lowenthal. Do not worry about it; they are not connected.
Okay.
And also they're kind of on the West Coast and stuff. And don't.
They will be. This will presumably be connected to Insomniac's Wolverine game that's coming out.
Yeah. Yes. Did I see, if I remember right, that Stark Tower is or Avengers Tower is in this game? But it doesn't serve a purpose.
Yeah, it's not important. I don't mind saying. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just there.
The Avengers Tower is like the tallest building in New York. Huh. We also see the Sanctum Sanctorum.
I don't know what that is.
That's Doctor Strange. That's the New York headquarters of the. So
that's cool.
Superheroes are an established thing in this world. Do not think about it too much.
Also, you know that Tony Stark would be like leasing out the rights to Iron Man for them to make Iron Man movies. He would. Be
Yeah,
doing that,
100%.
so-
Cool.
Aunt May just wants to check we're still on for dinner tomorrow night. She says she loves us, and we continue our beatdown bonanza.
We love you
everybody
too,
needs
Aunt
an
May.
Aunt May.
Spidey hits out with a quip that seems to be directly addressed at Neil right now. Regretting your life choices yet? We head up through the air vents. Towards Fisk. Fisk may be a dirty criminal, but he has remarkably clean air vents. We arrive at a room with a computer console. Fisk's men are frantically trying to delete files from the system. Chase is having a similar experience to a goon. You seem to be beat down by these quips.
Hates the quip.
It's just this like relentless positive and annoying, and I really respect it.
It's part of his power, though. It's part of his like his superheroism is that he just beats down the goons.
Yeah, there's that thing online that circles occasionally, that kind of meme thing of like the scariest thing imaginable would be fighting Spider-Man. He wasn't saying anything. Like,
Yeah.
you're dead.
Yeah.
Isn't Spider-Man arguably one of the strongest superheroes in the
He's
verse?
street level, he's or like city level, he's one of the
I
strongest.
thought like universal level.
He could we've seen him like hold up a building as it's like starting to collapse, but like he couldn't lift the whole building independently.
The whole meme was like, oh, you don't want to see him when he actually fights serious.
Well, he could punch your head off, like, and with one, if he wasn't holding, he's constantly holding back when he's fighting normal people, really, because if he hit you too hard, he would kill you, because he is superhuman.
There's a great Miles comic where there's a panel, and it's basically after fighting a goon, the goon's like webbed up, and it's like, I thought you were supposed to hold back, and Miles is like, I was.
Yeah.
You know, and they're all beaten and bruised. It's just a really, yeah, he's strong.
So we arrive in the console room where Fisk men are frantically trying to delete files from the system. We beat the goons down and start to undo whatever they were doing on the computer when a large bald head appears on the screen.
Yeah, thumb man.
Okay. I was wondering this going in. I'm like, is Fisk Kingpin? Yeah, okay, cool, great.
Hiding in the server room. Cowardly, even for you. Says the guy frantically erasing his search history. After all After all these years, you're still just an ignorant child. True, but it's part of my charm, isn't it? Damn you, damn you! Get that door down now! Destroy everything! Look around you, I did this! What have you ever done that mattered? Well, there was that time I took down a pompous, overstuffed crime lord before breakfast. Without me, the scum I kept in check will run rampant, and it'll be your fault. It's been a long, tough road, Fisk. Almost sad to see it end. This is a mere prelude. Well, get ready for the main event.
Oh, great. Spider-Man? I will not be stopping.
What are you typing?
Oh, I was making a. I'm getting my counters up. So I've got my Peter as a personal convenience counter, and I also now have a Chase breaks and equip counter. So you've gotten me twice.
Yeah, because one of those got Chase. Yeah, very good.
As we keep heading through the building, Yuri calls us to let us know that she's sending the bomb squad in. It seems Fisk could have rigged this whole building to blow. Sure enough, explosions ring out across the building, and Pete and the bomb squad get to work, saving office workers trapped
my
under the
favorite
debris.
band.
What?
It's my favorite band, Pete and the Bomb Squad.
So here we have a classic Spider-Man pose. You're asking how strong Spider-Man is, sort of lifting tons of debris off of trapped people and helping them out. Spider-Man does a lot of saving people in this game, which I really appreciate. You could just go around saving people, and he'll never leave anyone behind.
Very quickly, sorry, Neil, I will stop interrupting a sec, but just to plant this seed now, because I loved it when I went to Disneyland. Disneyland Paris, Spider-Man is there and he does his flips and kicks. And when you're there, he's not known as Spider-Man in France, he's known as Spider-Man. So you're standing there and there's children all around going, watch out, Spider-Man! And you're like, yeah, Spider-Man!
Why are they saying watch out in English?
Yeah, I just love the name Spider-Man for Spider-Man. Hello, Spider-Man!
He's been calling him Speederman since we woke up.
I have been.
It's exhausting.
Spider-Man and Spider-Man.
Very tired.
And also saying how radioactive he is.
Yuri and Spider-Man realise this was probably all a distraction, and Fisk has called a helicopter to the roof to pull off a classic whisk Fisk.
A whisk Fisk.
What?
Whisk him away, I guess. I don't know what.
No.
Yes, yeah. Pete makes his way finally to the top floor where we find some of the SWAT guys. They ask him where backup is, and he says it's probably him. They tell him to lead the way, but as he makes for Fisk's office, Spidey's spider sense tingles, and the cops raise their guns at him, one of them speaking onto a radio. "Heads up, boss." He backflips over them, disarming one before using his fists and feet to beat them up real bad.
A lot of bad apples in the Big Apple.
"So your plan didn't work. On to plan B, getting kicked in the face." That was a good, I enjoyed that. Seems like Fisk has dirty cops on the payroll.
Sorry, that's where I should have said a lot of bad apples. In the Big Apple.
Nice one, I like that. We open the door to the Kingpin's office. "Writing your memoirs? Don't forget the hyphen between Spider and Man." "Get the chopper ready. I won't be long." He turns to Spider-Man. "I'm surprised you made it this far, but your foolishness ends now." He presses a button and closes a thick bulletproof glass descends around him. Spider-Man says, I can still see you, right?" 8 years of this insolence." Automated turrets appear in the room around Spidey, start firing. This is where we learn about being able to web something and then pull it out and throw it around and throw it at something else. So we use the turrets to...
Poor Fisk being delegated to a tutorial boss.
I know.
Poor guy.
We smash the glass with the turrets, breaking it down, and Fisk is literally like, "How is this happening?" "What's wrong, Willie? You seem angry. I will destroy you."
He's so done.
"Tiresome annoyance." He's great. His dialogue's fantastic. "You are everything that's wrong with this city." "Huh. I was going to say the same to you." Fisk is tough. He may look a little tubs, but in the comics, it's described that is pretty much 100% muscle. He's basically superhumanly strong. We engage in a fairly brutal fight that involves us smashing down through floors of the building, tearing up offices, as both men scramble for control.
Is that any sort of like genetically modified superhuman, or is he just been hit in the
No,
gym?
it's one of the beautiful things about Fisk is that is just a man who has worked out his entire life to be as big as he can be.
Yeah.
He never misses his protein.
Legit. Which makes it extra impressive that he can like take a punch from Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So the two men plummet towards the floor of the atrium, smashing through, falling the last 50 feet or so. Just as they're about to hit the ground, Spidey manages to web up Fisk and kind of stick him to a ceiling. Here we go. And they come to a halt face to face. And Spidey says, "Should we kiss now?" "Nah, maybe later." We see Spider-Man watch on as Fisk is taken away in handcuffs, taken to custody. "Finally off to Rykers, huh? I think you've got more enemies in there than I do." "If you think this will be more than a minor inconvenience." "Idiot! I'm the one who kept this city in order. 1 month! In 1 month you'll wish you had me back." With Fisk's chilling final warning ringing in our ears, we head over to our other job.
Wait. What did he actually do?
Fisk was the Kingpin.
Yes.
He was the godfather of New York, and he made sort of allusions to the fact that he kept everything in line.
Well, no, it's not that. It's more, generally speaking, crime bosses are going to be able to keep their stuff under wraps. Why are the police just now? Like, what was the trigger for his suddenly falling?
It's because he was like Penguin in Batman, where it's like they know he's a criminal, but it's so
for
difficult
sure.
to pin it.
He's on the surface, he's a legitimate businessman, millionaire.
Well, yeah, that's why. Maybe I'm thinking too much into the comic book logic of it. But I'm sat there like, obviously he's gonna break out of prison in 3 months. But then is he just gonna go back to Fisk Tower, restart his business?
Well, here's
question mark. Nobody's gonna question.
You're right.
Fisk is so interesting because obviously they do the Trump comparisons here, especially nowadays. The irony that this was made before, where it's like, despite the fact that he is a known criminal, people will still support him because of. In this universe, Fisk does have charity work he does. It's all tax covered.
Yeah.
But people, so as a result, New Yorkers are tricked into thinking the opening paper said criminal or crusader.
Yeah.
Some people believe in the Fisk project.
It's a bit how Lex Luthor got made president, and then Superman after years of being Lex Luthor. Yeah. So we head to our other job. Peter has been getting calls from his boss. The committee are going to be here soon, and they need to run an equipment test. Where are you? We arrive at Peter's day job at Octavius Laboratories.
Oh.
The doctor is on a platform, controlling a prosthetic arm remotely. "It's fine, Parker." Peter looks concerned. "I invented this equipment. I think I can handle it." Something inside the lab explodes immediately.
Chase, do you recognize this man?
Do I recognize Doc Ock?
It was just there was no response.
The second single most iconic villain in the Spider-Man verse.
Monty's favorite Spider-Man villain.
This is not a villain. This is Otto Octavius.
Oh, excuse me.
Our beloved boss. Something in the lab explodes. Peter thinks they should abort, but the doc says not yet. He screams in pain as the arms he's plugged into spark and fizz. Peter manages to unplug him. It's just another setback. But they're close, says the doc. The grant committee arrive at exactly the wrong moment, finding our two sciencey boys in a lightly smoking lab. Peter immediately steps forward to claim responsibility for the accident that's just happened, but Otto cuts him off. The energy output exceeded our expectations. From a certain viewpoint, that's a very positive development. It doesn't smell very positive, retorts the director. They tell us not to get too optimistic about another round of funding. And a stressed out doctor sends us home for the day.
Peter, this was because you were late. Your fault.
These two are my favourite part of this game.
Yeah.
They are, I won't get into it too much right now, they just both love science and they want to help the world with science, and they're very cute together.
Absolutely.
Ship it. Scientifically.
Yeah, scientifically, yeah. Yeah. As we leave, Yuri calls us to update us on Fisk's incarceration in the Raft, the VIP section of Rykers Island. Fisk is truly...
Oh, of course there's also an island.
Yeah. Fisk is truly among royal company, his new neighbours including Scorpion, Rhino, Electro and the Vulture, all of whom have been put away by Spidey in the past. So this kind of... We know he's been doing this at least 8 years, and he's already put away some of his kind of most famous baddies.
Is this just another Arkham situation where they constantly break out of Rikers?
No.
Oh.
Rykers is
tight. Yeah, Rykers is tight.
Dang.
Yeah. She asks us to swing by the precinct. For you, Yuri, anything. Yuri and Spidey are very cute. She's very annoyed by him all the time.
My favorite dynamic. My favorite dynamic.
As we head over to see Yuri, we hear the latest episode of J. Jonah Jameson's podcast. That's right, he's not a news editor in this universe. He has a podcast, Just the Facts, with JJJ.
I fucking hate people with podcasts.
This is what he looks like, by the way.
I fucking hate podcasts.
It's very Alex Jones coded, I think.
He is. Yeah. So at the time, this was a very clear send-up of like an Alex Jones style podcast, or like a, it seems even less funny now doing the comparisons. But so
is he voiced by? Was it Simmons?
No.
Oh, boo.
But he's doing they all do a sort of similar thing, don't they? But no one quite as good as Simmons. This is Just the Facts with J. Jonah Jameson, where listeners like you discuss the issues affecting our city with Pulitzer Prize-winning, two-time Pulitzer Prize-winning former publisher of the Daily Bugle. Hey, plug the book! And as always, if you order Mr. Jameson's book, Spider-Man, Threat or Menace... Within 24 hours of our broadcast, you'll get an autographed copy at no extra charge. No personalizations. Don't ask, you're not going to get it. Welcome to Just the Facts with J. Jonah Jameson, alerting you to the threats you don't even know about. So let's dive right into the calls. Speak! A caller comes over. Okay, so not for nothing, you gotta give Spider-Man respect for taking down Wilson Fisk, right? I mean, one less mob boss is good for everybody. Is that right? Tell me. Are you a police officer, prosecutor, maybe an award-winning reporter with decades on the job like me? No, I'm a plumber. Oh, good. Then fix my toilet and shut up! Let me explain something to you about crime bosses. Soon as he goes down, every punk with a gun, a tracksuit, and a drawer full of gold chains decides he's the next Godfather. We're gonna have a gang war in the streets. But does that web-headed moron give a damn? Of course not. He's got on TV, that's what counts. Well, I can get a cup of pipe without paying kickbacks now. So until the gang war starts, I'm on the webhead side. And you'll be singing a different tune within 3 months when 3 new mob bosses are lining up to charge you triple for the same pipe, or just break your legs. Goodbye!
I hate that he's not wrong, though.
Stellar Jonah.
He's not wrong. Also, very stellar Jonah. Your voice is going to be dead by the end of today.
I've only included a couple of these for this reason. Spidey muses to himself, someday, Jonah, This has clearly been like a long crusade Jonah's had of slandering him in the media.
Do we know, back during the Bugle days, did Peter work for him in this universe?
Yes, he did. He was a
nice.
photographer for the Bugle.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
He was. We meet with Yuri on the roof of the police precinct. Now that you quit smoking, what do you tell people when you come up here? That I need a break from their crap? Fair enough. Why'd you call? You need a date to the policeman's ball? You got a black and white suit? She asks.
Are we meant to be reading?
No. It's Spider-Man, black and white suit. It's like a.
I got that. I meant, is this meant to be flirty?
No, you're. I think it's fair to say neither of them give those vibes. These are pals.
I ship it platonically.
Yes.
She says, no ball this year anyway. We spent too much integrating Oscorp's surveillance tech. It was until an hour ago. The whole system went down, citywide, every tower. Someone sabotaged the central server, and now all the towers are offline. So, we have to go out across the city fixing Oscorp towers. This is effectively the way we unlock our map and all the side.
Oh, there are Ubisofts. I see.
It's also less about, I actually don't mind the tower angle. That's totally fine because really it doesn't take long. It's more the lore implications of New York City cops having surveillance towers owned by a private conglomerate that they use.
Which is just the case, I think. Yeah. Oscorp technology is implemented in various ways across the city.
Not just the existence of them. It's a quest to help these be set up.
Well, help them get repaired because they've immediately been sabotaged.
Spider-Man could just go, no.
Yeah, but these towers are how they can, identify crimes as they're happening.
Yeah.
Well, we can talk about the morality of that another time. But so we swing around the city, fixing the first few towers and stopping some crimes as we go. Yuri's over the radio with us, talking to us. As she lets us know about an assault happening a few blocks over. Spider-Man responds, "You're in luck, Yuri. Your favorite tough but lovable, grizzled, seen too much detective is in town." "What? No. You promised you wouldn't do that anymore. Spider Cop. Please, no." We rescue the woman who's being assaulted by these men from they're goons. They're goons. Her name is Gloria. She says, I knew Jameson was wrong about you. You're a little weird, but you've got a good heart. Have you got somewhere to go? We ask her. I can take care of myself. I'm sure you can. But just in case, there's a place called the Feast Center. They got the best wheat cakes in the city, hands down. Gloria says her mum used to make those and she hasn't had any in a long time. I'll check it out. Thanks, Spider-Man. Actually, she calls him Spider Guy. he's like, it's Spider-Man? Oh, okay. And as we swing away, he's like, Spider Cop spies his destination. A second surveillance tower. Yuri comes over. She's heard all of this. She's like, are you narrating yourself? What? No, of course not. The chief never did understand Spider Cop. He was a loose cannon. As we fix the last tower, been doing a little thinking, Yuri. Policing's a young man's game, and Spider Cop, well, he's no spring chicken. Please be going where I think you're going. As of today, Spider Cop is officially retired. Thank God. I need a drink. We'll all drink tonight, Yuri. Drink to the memory of Spider Cop's tireless... Yuri? Yuri, are you still there? I guess the emotion of the moment overwhelmed her.
And you know what they say about cops who say it's their last day on the job?
We call Dr. Octavius to check how the meeting with the grant committee is going. I'm so sorry I screwed things up. Not at all, Peter. They're just nervous in the face of imminent triumph. They'll calm down. They always do. I'm stepping out for dinner anyhow. We'll resume things tomorrow. Short break, then back to creating the future. Wish I could bottle and sell that man's optimism. Sounds like he's left the lab for the day. Time to go and work on my suit in private.
I forget. Remind me, what is the actual motivation of the octopus arms?
So those aren't octopus arms at this point. What we actually saw, I should have explained in more detail, is a prosthetic arm, right? It's a metal prosthetic arm, and he is plugged into a neural controller for it, so he can remotely control. So they're working on a number of things, but the main focus for this game is prosthesis. For people that have lost limbs, something that can be a pure prosthesis that can be controlled by your mind as if it were a real limb.
So assumedly in the general, maybe not in this game, but in general, it's just the neurals that drive him crazy.
It depends on the continuity. There's versions of it where where Otto Octavius is just an evil bloke who just has metal arms.
It's a more recent thing to make him a tragic character.
Spider-Man 2 movie has the new rule where the arms, who's in control, him or the arms? Something to flag to you, Chase, because I don't know how much of this you'll get from the power of this, but obviously Insomniac know that fans are going into this with a lot of preconceived notions of what Spider-Man is. Yeah. That Otto being Pete's boss moment is supposed to be, as far as the game is concerned, is the game waving to fans and going, hey, this is a different world and a different continuity. Who's to say that bad guys are bad guys and good guys are good guys in this? And I don't know how much of that will get to kind of bounce off of you, which is a bit of a shame, but when they pop up, we'll flag them.
Interesting.
But it's kind of... There's no reason to believe that Otto Octavius will become Doc Ock.
I see.
That is supposed to be the game going, by the way, Otto, good guy. He's Pete's boss. And
like they do the misdirect at the start with the all the right lights go red and you're like, oh, here he is, bad guy Otto, and they're like, no, it's fine.
Yeah, like Yuri and Spider-Man working together, that's quite new as well.
Yeah.
There's lots of new things in this.
I don't think I've ever even heard of Yuri's character before.
Exactly, and I won't say more about that.
Assuming that the Doc has left the lab, we head there to patch up our now quite damaged suit. It's been a long day. We've had the fight with Fisk this morning. Like, it's been a very long day.
Sounds like he's going to need more suits.
As we arrive at the lab and start working, Peter is surprised by a voice. Parker? Dr. Octavius, what you got there? And he's like frantically trying to hide the suit behind him.
Chinese.
Chinese. If I knew you'd be here, I would have... Wait, what are you working on? It's a side project. Otto sees the suit. Of course, it's you. I don't know. Come on, Parker, it's obvious. Let me explain. I only wish you'd told me sooner.
Oh, he never has to say it's a personal issue again. My counter's dead.
Yeah.
I only wish you'd told me sooner. I wanted to, but I was afraid that if word got out, my family might be in danger. Yes. I guess if you design his equipment, you're bound to be a target too. And Peter is like just been ready to spill his guts, like he's started spilling the truth, and he's like, yeah, they're designing the suit thing. Don't worry, your secret's safe with me. I'll leave it to you. Pete falls asleep in the lab working on his suit, and he wakes up and there's like a sticky note on his head that Doc's left, and it's like, check your email. And he's like, I hope this isn't how the dog fires me.
I love the thought that he's now just allowed to make Spidey suits at work.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
Yeah. And also, Monty kind of touched on it earlier, Otto helps with the gadgets.
Yeah.
Oh, does he?
That's where a lot of the gadgets come from.
Can't wait until he's our final boss.
We open the email. Just a thought, Peter. The revelation of your second job as Spider-Man's suit crafter, is that the right term? It's a reminder of the good man and partner you are. Oh. No matter how hard you work, you still find time to help others. And I hope you don't mind, but I noticed the suit was a bit damaged, and I took the liberty of sketching up some of my own improvements. Attached are a few ideas I had on how you could enhance his suit and help protect Spider-Man, who does so much for this city. Looking forward to the incredible work we are doing and changing the world together. Your partner and friend. He attaches designs for a new Spidey suit, which we wear proudly in the next scene. Aww. So we get the reveal, sliding down the wall, flipping through the air, of the Insomniac suit.
Yeah, it's a
There's
sick
the cover suit.
It's now time for everyone's favourite, our first ever game of Swing or Miss.
Neil has you've clearly written this in paint.
Not even into doing PowerPoint.
Love it.
Swing or Miss, a game where Chase will review some of the various unlockable suits available and rate them as either a swing, which is
Go!
and we'll rate them either a swing, a positive word in relation to Spider-Man, or a miss.
I'm so ready for this.
First two are perhaps the least interesting, but first up we have got the classic suit.
Is it controversial if I say this one's a miss?
Go, tell us.
It's just a bit. It's done. It's done to death. I want some originality here. Maybe it's just because I really like the Miles Morales suit and I want it to not be red and blue.
Yeah.
Okay. I hate the red and blue color scheme. I'm sorry.
What do you think of the fact that the bottom half are clearly trousers rather than just like pants or bottoms?
No thoughts.
No thoughts. Don't care.
Zero thoughts.
Okay. Well then, time for our second round of Swing or Miss.
Yes.
The Insomniac suit.
That one. That's a swing. I do really like when you get the spider logo that has like the legs going all the way down the torso. Like I do like because I think we've had a few of those before. Doesn't Amazing Spider-Man also have something like that?
Yeah, he's got long. I think on the back he's got the long legs.
Yeah, I like the long leg spider one.
Yeah, me too.
I just love the white.
How do you feel about the white? You like the white? I go hot and cold on the white.
The only place I don't like the white is on the gloves.
Well,
I like it everywhere else.
That's interesting.
Thank you everyone for playing Swing or Miss.
Can't wait for the next round.
Spidey swings to the city in his new suit. It's very cute. As he's going, he's like, coming through, excuse me, late for work. And he's like...
Oh, also the boots. I don't like it on the boots either.
You get the... he's like swinging through, hand dragging across between traffic. There's people shouting like, looking good, Spidey. And he's like, thanks. Hello, New York. Same suit. A new suit. Same old me. He's like very integrated into the culture of New York and the people. And, you know, most people in this universe seem to love him.
I love New York.
So does he. As we head towards our destination, we get a call. It's Mr. Lee. Martin Lee comes over the phone. Peter, it's Martin Lee. I just wanted to let you know we need a little extra time to get set for May's party. I guess the cake delivery is stuck in traffic. So we get into a fight with some muggers on the way. We get disconnected from Mr. Lee and our phone rings again. It's our landlord telling us this serves as our third and final warning. Eviction proceedings are going to begin. And Spider's like, wait, I get paid at the end of the week. Eviction proceedings will start Friday unless full payment is received by close of business. Good day.
Guess he's gonna live in the lab.
We head to Feast, which stands for Food Emergency Aid, Shelter and Training. This is a charitable shelter set up by philanthropist Martin Lee, who we were just on the phone with. This is also where Aunt May works. So this is ostensibly, it does a lot more outreach work, but ostensibly it's a homeless charity and a shelter where people can come and get nourishment and have somewhere safe to stay. We get there, and this is lovely Martin Lee, who, as I say, is the philanthropist who set up Feast. He asked us to stall May a little bit, so we head over, and she's very happy to see us. What a nice surprise. And as we're trying to distract her, we're pretty terrible at it. He's like, look this way, while they're like clearly setting up a banner behind, and they're like, look at me. I really need to talk to you. And she's like,
bring her somewhere else.
She's like, because this is her work. She's working. She's like lifting boxes in here. She's doing work. And she's like, Peter, are you in trouble? Do you need money? No.
Yes.
I mean, I'm a little behind on my rent, but no, I'm fine. She's like, girl problems again. Slagging him. No, that's crazy. May says, I still wish you and MJ could have worked things out. She's a great girl. She is. And the two of you would make some beautiful babies.
So it's not an MJ story.
What?
He's like, no, it's really important. I swear.
Make it a Gwen Stacy story. She's better.
She says, come on, you can tell me. Disagree hard. We sit down with May, and Peter says to her, these past few years, you helping me through college and working here, sacrificing so much and asking for nothing. I just wish there were more people like you in the world. Martin Lee approaches from behind with the rest of the party committee. He's right. 5 years ago, you walked in here and told me you were inspired by my mission to help others. Now it's you who inspires me. Thank you, May, for everything. Here's to many more years of service. The crowd is gathered and they all applaud. And we thank Mr. Lee for helping set all this up. May's always told me, if you help someone, Martin Lee finishes it, you help everyone. Maybe we should send May to City Hall to have a word with this mayor. We get a call from Yuri. A silent alarm. A Fisk auction house has been...
I've only just thought about the fact that this is Yuri talking to Yuri.
Yeah. I never ever made that connection.
Hilarious.
So a silent alarm has been tripped at a Fisk auction house. We sneakily leave the party and head out. May calls us as we leave. Sorry, I lost track of you at the party. I had to get to the lab, sorry. Don't apologize, May says. I just want to tell you how much what you said meant to me. I always wonder if I'm doing the right thing by you. Stop wondering. After losing my parents and Uncle Ben, there are so many times I would have fallen apart if not for you. Well, that works both ways, Peter. I just wanted to make sure you knew that. And she heads off to go and help Mr. Lee.
I think it's really beautiful that obviously, I mean, Spider-Man, so with great power comes great responsibility is always the mantra. However, I really like that Insomniac does their... I mean, that mantra exists in this universe and is something that Peter believes, but I love that this game goes, well, we've got our own little mantra that we're going to be focusing on here. That if you
help one person, you help everyone.
Help everyone. And that is the thing, Chase. Yeah. That's the mantra of this game.
Curious question. And don't tell me for the sake of this game, because that's obvious spoilers, but in the wider thing, outside of the one time in the Marvel movies, how often does Aunt May die? Because she throws death flags.
Very, very rarely.
Okay.
I can picture one time. She is something of a constant.
She's often in critical danger or critical injury.
Yeah, she's often...
She throws death flags everywhere, but just doesn't die.
No, she's normally... To be fair, Spidey is usually a character he's been through more than most. And usually at any given point he's lost his parents at a young age, his Uncle Ben formatively, normally one of his romantic interests. Yeah. Cool. You know, so usually May is like the only one who's got...
Aunt May has been married...
Watch my thingies from Spider-Verse.
In comics continuity, Aunt May has been married 3 times. She was married to Uncle Ben, no duh. She was married to...
don't share this.
Should you not? She was married to J. Jonah Jameson Sr., JJJ's dad.
Yeah.
Which is actually current comics continuity. Yeah. He's an absolute gem, and the two of them were in a very happy marriage. Okay. Which actually makes Peter and Jonah brothers-in-law. And third, Doc Ock tried to marry her.
Yeah, he really. This was back when Doc Ock was more of a weird old man, and he really fancied her. He really genuinely fancied her, didn't he?
Yeah, and she was quite charmed by him. It's really sweet.
I love it.
None of that applies here.
No.
We head through the vents. You get a fair bit of sneaking around through vents. This Spidey, as well as having a great combat system, he's a sneaky boy. We made the comparison to the Arkham games. There is a big element to this game is sneaking around the room, picking off the baddies one by one before a big fight. We arrive at the auction house. The place is overrun by men in black and white masks.
What is up with terracotta soldiers everywhere? They were also, terracotta soldiers were also in Kingpin's office.
Interesting. Well, this is Fisk's auction house. So this is all his stuff.
Oh, are they just... They took his office. He's in jail. We're selling all his shit.
100%.
Exactly what's
we're repoing the building.
Yeah. We're just about to learn. That is pretty much what's happening,
Nice. Fortune teller.
So the men in black and white masks have hostages, and we've clearly arrived in the middle of a heist. We sneak around, quietly taking out men before finding a camera in one of the rooms. It's it's a camera. But it's got like a Spider-Man strap, like the one for around your neck is a Spider-Man strap. And he's like, hey, what is that? This totally belongs to... Don't move! Comes a voice behind him. We're cornered. One of the men has a gun aimed at the back of our head. Yeah, the camera strap. Yeah, it's very cute.
I don't think I realized what it was going to look like until that picture.
So yeah, the guy corners us. Don't move! Buddy, if I had a nickel for every don't move I'd heard in the middle of this, the demon is smacked on the back of the head.
He'd be able to pay rent.
Yeah. The man is smacked in the back of the head and collapses. Behind him, smiling and breathless, we see Mary Jane. Hey, Pete.
That's not Gwen Stacy.
No, it's not, thank God.
Gwen Stacy, not in this universe.
No. Why do you... What's... You're just saying that because of the Andrew Garfield movie.
No, it's more Spider-Verse, I think,
I was
right?
with Spider-Verse.
Oh, right, okay.
Gwen Stacy's...
we have very different ideas of Gwen Stacy.
She's my favorite character in the entire Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Spider-Gwen, 10 out of 10 character. Yeah. Comic book Gwen
80s, 90s Gwen Stacy. I was always a Mary Jane fan.
Yeah.
Pete's eyes widen. MJ, what are you doing here? Same as you. Working. So we flash back in time to 15 minutes earlier, and we play as Mary Jane. Ooh. She's been covering the auction for a story she's writing for the Daily Bugle, where she's an investigative reporter. She's their most fearless investigative field reporter. She'd been there to cover the Fisk estate sale. So yeah, you kind of touched on it. All of Fisk's stuff is being sold. She's here, though, MJ is, without her boss's knowledge. Her boss is Robbie. She's here without Robbie's knowledge. She managed to play on the stuffy curator's insecurity to get access where she's not supposed to be there. As I say, we play as her as we walk around the exhibit. Fisk's extravagant wealth and affinity for East Asian art pieces on display. Through his art, we see his obsession with the strong man making the hard choices, the duality of man, and the tireless work of the creator, building something in the face of destruction. So there's all like Neos facing off against each other, dark and light, and at one point she finds a katana, and it's marked like katana 14th century, a katana blade attributed to Masamune, the hilt rewrapped in the early 19th century, and MJ thinks to herself, Fisk cut Peter open like a pork sausage with this the first time they met. Pete got away, collapsed in my yard half dead. I had to steal my dad's car and drive him to the ER. The first of many Nurse MJ moments. So she spent years patching Pete up. She manages to sneak into a secure room and opens a hidden compartment underneath a Neo statue. There she finds a file on Norman Osborn, the mayor of New York, and something else called Devil's Breath. Just then, the men break in and resume their heist. I should point out that many of these men are Chinese, so perhaps they're just there to reclaim some of their works of art of cultural significance to their culture. Yep. They're not. They're here for the file that she's got. We flash back to the former lovers. Pete says he'll take out the remaining men if she can hide and get away with the file. She turns back. Good to see you, Pete. You too, but it's not exactly how I pictured us meeting again, though. She hovers in the doorway and smiles. Funny, it's exactly how I pictured it. As she leaves, Pete's like talking to himself. He's like, did she change her perfume? Focus, Pete. Damn it, focus. As we make our way through the building, MJ...
So we know who broke up with who.
Yeah.
MJ is shortly cornered by some of the men who managed to get the file back off her. As we swing in to make the save, we see that these men have a sort of strange black and white energy emanating from their hands, strengthening their blows with otherworldly power. What's that glowy stuff on your hands? Are you ghosts? Never fought a ghost before.
Damn it. Does a groan and an exhale count?
Just give yourself over to it. So the men get away. After the fight, we retrieve one of the masks from the ground. Pete thinks he knows someone who might be able to help with this. We text MJ later, inviting her for dinner at Mick's. We're sort of with MJ when this happens. She gets the text and she looks slightly exasperated. She's like, Mick's? Like the last 6 months never happened? She sighs, takes a minute and responds, I'll see you in a few minutes. We fade in on Pete and MJ sitting in a booth at the restaurant. When did Mick's become Italian? MJ wonders. No idea, but I'm still glad he makes these fries. Best in the city. Pete asks how the job at the Bugle's going.
So skint that he can't do dinner.
Yeah, they've been sharing a medium fries, it looks like. Pete asks about her job at the Bugle. Well, I just got an all-caps text from Robbie about my so-called antics tonight, so looks like I'll be meeting with the legal team. Again. Nah, as soon as he reads the article you're going to write, guaranteed promotion. They talk about the creepy mask guys. What do they think it is? Pete says it's just another night in the city. She feels there's a bigger story here. But let's not make this all about business. How's it going with you? Did you get the promotion? No, says Peter, but we're on the cusp of something really big. MJ says that Oscorp would hire him in a heartbeat. One phone call to Harry? Sure, says Pete. But Dr. Octavius' work could help millions. I'm right where I want to be, right where I should be. Almost sounds more important than your other job, MJ says. I've never heard you talk like this before. Well, a lot can change in 6 months. Why did you ask me here, Pete? You know, just dinner between friends. Friends? Is that what we are? I mean, we could be, if you wanted. There's a lot of baggage here, MJ says. Sure, is that so bad? I mean, baggage can carry good things too, like money and keys and raspberry lip balm. Peter, do you remember why we broke up? This is a trick question, isn't it?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, he's a disaster.
This is hard to watch.
A police siren squawks into life outside as we hear a chase break out. Saved by the siren, MJ says. Talk to you later. She tells him to go. Pete rushes from the diner, heading towards the newest disaster.
There's something so beautiful and intimate, I think, about the way that they write Pete and MJ in this game specifically.
Yeah.
They really capture the awkward ex
kind
of trying to be friends thing. It's so good.
And she is, off the top of my head, she's the only one that knows at this point. Oh, there's one other who we'll get to, but she's the only active person in his life who knows. Pete rushes from the diner, and MJ sort of groans and puts her head in her hand before getting up to pay and leave. Behind the counter, the short order cook calls out to her. Lovely seeing you two together again. It's Stanley. Yeah. And he looks at her and says, you were always my favourites.
No.
And this is one of the last times we ever saw Stanley. Funnily enough.
You say it's the last time we ever see him, but knowing how Hollywood's going with AI, will his corpse be dragged through the mud for years? Probably.
MJ smiles when he says this. I just love that. You were always my favourites. That really got me emotional when I first played this game.
Well, it just sucks to see these two not be together.
Yeah. Spidey calls Yuri. She says that our old friend Herman Schultz is at it again. Shocker? Didn't he just get paroled? Well, I guess it didn't take. No worries, says Spider-Man. Herman's just a big cupcake. I'll have him back in Rykers by bedtime. Just had dinner with my ex, this is to himself, after saving her from mass criminals. Now I'm gonna go beat up a maniac who uses shockwaves to rob people. What a perfectly normal life you have, Peter Parker. Okay.
Shocker's a bit of a, in almost every Spider-Man game, I want to say, he's effectively a tutorial.
He's always a joke.
Always a joke.
He's always a bit of a
He's
joke.
like a C-lister, if that, you know.
As we head over there, we get another call from Dr. Octavius. Otto says, Peter, I just want to make sure you haven't left any equipment behind you built for your friend around the lab. It's no bother to me, but if the grant committee stops by again, don't worry, Doc. I make a point not to leave anything there, but I know my friend appreciates you looking out for him. There's a lot of people who don't like him very much. That buffoon Jameson and his audience of sheep? Please. The people who do great things in this world are those who don't let bullies like him stand in the way. People like us.
Are we meant to get kind of the inkling that he knows and he's just kind of like, your suit guy?
No, he doesn't know.
Okay.
You could read that. I certainly think he just thinks Peter's a brilliant scientist, so it makes sense he'd be making the suits.
Yeah.
We arrive at the scene of the robbery as the Shocker smashes out of the front of the store. Hi, Herman! Seriously? You're never gonna catch me!
I love how he calls all of them just by their actual, legal names.
As we chase him across the city, he sort of blasts himself with electrical explosions and sort of flies across the city, kind of bouncing across the city. So, as we chase him, we ask him why he needed the money. He has just been paroled after all. I mean, we all know you're kind of dumb, but we didn't think you were this dumb. You must be desperate, which means you're not just stealing for yourself. You must be working with someone or for someone. You can tell me who it is now or make me punch it out of you later. Your choice. He's not very talkative, though, and we beat him, and he gets locked up and taken away.
Sure.
But Peter is suspicious. This was a seemingly odd thing for him to be doing. Yuri calls to say, "Good work, Spider-Man. Did you learn anything about his motive?" I tried, but he's not very talkative. Plus, I think he hates me. She says, "You have that effect on a lot of people. But you still love me, right, Yuri? Right? I tolerate you." Wow, that might be the nicest thing you've ever said to me. Maybe now is a good time to look into the mask that we found. We head back to Feast, as MJ calls us. She's just catching up on the news. It looks like you had quite an adventure with Shocker tonight. Yeah, he was unusually combative. Anyway, thanks again for dinner. What do I owe you? How about a favor? You still have that mask from the gallery? Yeah, I'm on my way to Feast Center to ask Martin Lee about it. He has a degree in art history. If anyone knows the origins of that mask, he will, I guess.
Nobody else. Yeah. Than a random guy with an art history. Yeah. Right?
We arrive at Feast and speak to Mr. Lee. Peter, what can I do for you? Sorry to bother you, Mr. Lee. He's talking about his friend. She's doing a story about art imports, and she found this piece. She wanted an expert opinion on it, and since I know you have a degree, let's see what you have. Interesting. Where did she find it? This is a replica of an antique Chinese opera mask. I haven't seen one in years. The symbol here roughly translates to demon. My father read me ghost stories with that mask, and a symbol in it when I was young. Scared the hell out of me, Peter. Listen, that mask, it's connected to dangerous people. Mary Jane may want to find a different story. Do you think she's in trouble? I don't know, he says. Why take the risk? He seems genuinely shaken up at the sight of this.
The demons are good. They're quite a scary.
Yeah, so from now on, that's what I'll be calling them, the demons. Yeah. We head back out and get a call. We just get calls. From Aunt May.
Oh, spin the wheel.
It's like 1 of 5 people.
It's a good thing this doesn't take place back in the day when you had limited minutes on your phone plan. Otherwise, Peter'd have another bill.
Yeah, 100%. Aunt May says that Mr. Lee spoke to her. He seemed worried. Are you doing something dangerous? It's just a story MJ's investigating, Aunt May. Don't worry. I'll make sure she's careful. Please tell me you two are back together.
So, are we meant to take it? So, they broke up, 6 months ago?
Yeah.
Are we meant to take it that they had not spoken until meeting?
They hadn't spoken in 6 months, probably.
Okay, so this is very much you, MJ.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Please tell me you're back to I love that girl.
Yeah.
We're talking again. It's just baby steps.
Babies?
I hope I didn't upset Mr. Lee. He's just concerned, said Aunt May. Oh yeah, it's important to know Aunt May and Uncle Ben in this universe never had kids. So like Peter is her kid. Like is her son.
Kids in
Really.
any universe?
Probably.
Some alternate ones.
To
but-
say, I don't think I have ever heard of Aunt May and Uncle Ben having
There's a Spider-Man where he is just the son of
Yeah.
Uncle Ben and Aunt May. It's a.
But then they're not aunt and uncle.
No, that's their first name.
Please tell me you're not joking.
Mr. Ben and Mrs. May.
Oh, Jesus.
So she says that Martin Lee's just concerned about us. I was actually touched by how concerned. I knew that he liked you. He admires how dedicated you are to helping others. I think you remind him of... I need to change the voice because it's just all the voices. This is Aunt May now. I think you remind him of himself when he was younger. Both orphans, both so smart. Well, the admiration's mutual. You've got a good boss, May. I'll tell him you said so. I love you, Peter.
Love you, May.
She
said Peter, not Monty.
No.
We get a call. We get a call from Doc Ock, who reminds us that Lance Corporal Texador is here for a fitting. Oh, I totally forgot. I didn't forget. I mean, I'll be there soon. This tardiness is starting to become a pattern. Come on, Parker. You're better than this. He's right. How did I lose track of time? We head to the lab where Otto has fitted the Lance Corporal with a prosthetic arm. So this is kind of what they're working on. It's a very it's a very fully automated thingy. He's explaining the man just needs to treat it like a real arm. Think of what you want it to do and it'll do it. The two scientists watch on with sheer joy. They're like little kids. They're so cute. And wonder as the man manages to pick up the cup. As they begin to celebrate, city workers burst into the room, confiscating boxes and equipment around there. This site's been declared a safety hazard. What? People start to power off the lab's devices. Stop that right now, Otto says. He's like desperate, scrambling around. That's it. I'm calling the mayor's office directly. No need. Peter Parker, how the hell are you?
This is a horrible outfit.
I think it's a great outfit.
What is this polka dot tie?
Oh, yeah.
These colors clash. It doesn't go with his hair.
Peter Parker, Norman Osborn says. How the hell are you? Otto looks at him. Speak of the devil. Mr. Osborn, what are you... Oh, please. How long have we known each other? It's Mr. Mayor. Only kidding. Only kidding. It's Norman. Norman, what the hell do you think you're doing? Says Otto. The grant agreement you signed has strict safety provisions, Otto. This isn't your first violation. Those were excused by me. We should have confiscated this equipment long ago. But we've had a breakthrough. Norman turns to the veteran and shakes his hand. He's like, thank you for your great service to this country. These folks will escort you to Oscorp Robotics, where you'll receive the latest in prosthesis, no charge. This isn't about safety infractions, is it? Says Otto. I'm trying to help you, Otto. You're free to continue your work in a secure environment.
So they've clearly known each other for a while.
And Otto reads into this. You want me to work at Oscorp?
Yeah.
You always were the smartest guy in the room, Otto. You haven't changed a bit, he replies. Neither have you. Hey, Peter, Harry will be coming back from Europe early next year. Maybe the two of you can start that business you always talked about. This is opportunity knocking. Peter turns to Otto. Easy. They didn't take everything. Maybe we can start over. Peter, there is no we. Without the grant from the city, I can no longer pay you. I need some time to think. If I were you, I'd look for a new job.
What's wrong with Oscorp? If they're also making prosthesis and stuff.
Well, they're also... The first thing we learned about them is that the police surveillance systems are made by Oscorp.
But again, what is inherently wrong with that?
They make weapons. They do all sorts of stuff where...
So is the problem capitalism?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Otto just fundamentally disagrees with the work that Oscorp
And we'll
does.
learn more about Oscorp as we go.
Yeah.
I love this scene because it's so well handled. How Norman it's effortless. His entire presence.
Oh,
in the
he
scene
is
so effortless.
totally unbothered all the time.
So in control of every moment. He just kind of sweeps into the scene, does a lap, and then leaves the scene, and the place is empty.
Yeah.
So,
It's really
so
well
good.
done. Yeah. as we head back out into the city, now potentially jobless as well as facing eviction, Pete decides that he's going to take on a task left for him by his good friend, Harry Osborn.
Oh.
So around the city, Harry has Oscorp research stations set up. So these are always a little station, scientific research station on the roof of a building, where essentially each one is an experiment that Harry, often inspired by his late mother, is using to conduct experiments to try and improve life in the city. Now, these research stations, the reason that Harry's asked us to go and take a look at these and the work being done is that they are all facing defunding by his dad, by Oscorp. Oscorp doesn't see the value in them because they're for things like improving pollution and stopping, poisoning in the river and,
If we do that, how will we sell our anti-poison pills?
Chemical spills in the city. So there's like...
But we're the ones spilling the chemicals.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of the time it is an Oscorp thing that's causing the problem. So Harry has basically, each one left us a voice note and he'll be like, this one was really important to my mum. The birds of the city... are subject to this kind of disease. Can we go and get samples and work on a cure? And by the end of them... as I say, there's maybe 10 or 15. We'll do the experiment. They're all different. So it'll be like swinging through pollution to get samples and then coming back and, identifying the cause of that pollution. And with each one, hopefully, we've proved the worth of that research station on Harry's behalf. While he's away on his Europe trip, we're just holding him off for a future game, essentially.
Yeah.
But,
Is he just on holiday?
He's on holiday in Europe. Osborn did mention it, Norman mentioned it in the last scene. He said, when Harry gets back, you two can start that business you've always talked about. So Harry, Norman's a terrible guy, but Pete's been best friends with his son since school. Why they were ever at the same school, I don't know.
I think that Harry would have been at a private school, but they were always together in the corner.
Slightly odd. Maybe Norman's got a weird New York, he's going to be educated here thing. I don't know.
I get it,
Yeah. We get a call from Yuri. Shocker has been released. On the CCTV footage, a guard just walked up, let him out, and handed him his suit. The guard was then found dead. When they review the footage, it looks like the guard was in a trance. We catch up to him again. Herman, long time no see. I'm no lawyer, but I'm pretty sure this is a parole violation. Do you want to play 20 questions? I think we're stuck here for a while. How about we thumb wrestle? Okay, face punch it is. And he's had like an upgrade, like his gauntlets are all digital now. You remember our first fight? Me, so young and stupid. You, stupid. You talk too much. Well, that's a matter of opinion. I mean, are there any standard metrics for how much talking one should do? Who determines the ideal ratio for talking versus not talking? Also, how would you measure it? Words per minute? Syllables per second? Or is it more about how we use words to express a single thought? It's also subjective. If you ask me, some people don't talk enough. I mean, about who their mysterious overlord is they're working for, what kind of thing. I mean, now I can deal some real damage. Why are you doing this, Herman? Because if I don't, they'll kill me. You really want to help me? Just let me have the money. Sorry, that's not going to happen. Have you written a prediction?
No, Chase is buying Spider-Man Miles Morales, a game that we're not covering
And a
today.
game that you own.
No. This is why I thought, because this one includes Spider-Man 1.
So, he says, if you really want to help me, just let me have the money. Not going to happen. People don't really rob banks anymore. You're lucky you found actual cash. If you really want to rob banks, try day trading. It's all the rage. Comrade Parker. If I talk, I'm dead. They made that very clear. Eventually, we learn that Shocker is alluding to the masked men.
The demons.
Yeah. We eventually beat Herman. We drop a chandelier on his head, saying, "You brought this on yourself, literally." Spider-Man calls Yuri, commenting how Shocker was scared and desperate. The demons are everywhere all of a sudden. Like, all over the city, there are, like, events popping up. Not like pop-ups, but, like, demon bases, demons robbing, demons fighting police in the street.
Pop-up demon coffee shop.
Demon food wagons.
Yeah. I think that the implication here, she said they have a special cell waiting for him at the raft. So I think he was just in Rykers before, whereas now he's being transferred to the raft. Spider-Man tells Yuri that he thinks that Shocker was working for the Demon Gang. Demon Gang, she says? Sounds like a Daily Bugle headline. Hey, the Bugle is a perfectly fine news organization. I'm not sure I'd call it news, she says. Well, I heard they have some really good reporters. We check our voicemail. We check our voicemail where Otto's left us a very excitable message. Peter, I may have been a bit hasty in advising you to find another job. I have a plan. Give me a bit of time. We may yet live to invent another day.
I love Otto.
The indomitable Otto Octavius, Peter thinks.
So good.
That's great news. I hope his plan works. Yuri tips us off about a Fisk property that hasn't been hit by the demons yet. So it seems like all of Fisk's property where all his shit is hidden, all his guns and all his supplies, that's what the demons are hitting as a priority. But she lets us know there's one that hasn't been hit yet. A shipyard where we go to meet Jefferson Davis, a beat cop that's been working the Fisk case for years. You know we can't have vigilantes trespassing or doing illegal searches, he tells Spider-Man, which is why I brought a warrant. So what do you say we do some perfectly legal searching? He introduces himself. Officer Davis, call me Jeff. And you are... Spider-Man goes, I'm just messing with you. My son's a big fan.
I'm so used to the Spider-Verse one. He looks so young here.
Yeah, he is a bit
He's not giving...
He's not grumpy. He's not grumpy cop like in Spider-Verse. He's just a very determined guy who's been trying to bring down Fisk for years.
Love it.
He says, I'm just messing you with you. My son's a big fan. We search the shipyard.
Is he now?
Yeah. We search the shipyard with Jeff and discover weapons caches empty. Fisk men have recently cleared out the equipment, presumably to keep it from the hands of the marauding demons. We eventually find a hidden vault, but the demons have just beaten it to us, blowing a hole in the wall and are loading up vans outside with its content. We fight off a small army of demons. They've got like swords that are like imbued with this black and white energy. They've got like whips that are like imbued with the energy. The whips are a bastard because if you try and swing around, they like grab you and pull you back.
I was about to say, does magic exist in this world? But I forgot this is also the same world that has Scarlet Witch and the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
Magic
So yes,
does, it
magic does exist.
In the Spider-Man universe, Doctor Strange is right there. They do exist.
Yeah. We never see them, but they do. We fight off a small army of demons, with Jeff even saving Spidey and a bus full of civilians. Basically, Spidey's like on a bus full of civilians. It's being derailed. He's like holding it with webs and is about to get crushed by a wall, and Jeff like drives a truck into it, saving everyone like before it falls off a cliff. As Jeff would like to say, we're not all donut eaters. So here we are after the day, the press starting to gather round, and Pete is making sure that Jeff gets the credit for being the hero of the day. We head back to the apartment where Pete has been served his final eviction notice and the landlord has thrown out all his possessions.
Frick.
I've not covered this, but there is there's a mission here where literally he's thrown all our stuff in the trash and the bin's been collected, and we have to go around the city to all the different recycling plants to try and find Peter's stuff.
No, you make it sound really boring. It is arguably my favorite mission of the game because the whole time he's calling. I don't remember. It's like
and he's like, hey, I'm trying to find this truck, and the guy's like, well, normally the guys on that route like to stop here for pizza. Maybe try this pizza place, and you're like,
you mean Tony's Pizza?
Yeah.
The one
No, that's Tony's original. Yeah.
It's proper like New Yorkers working together vibe. It's great. It's really good.
Pete is now effectively homeless and says to himself, this night isn't going as he planned. Where am I going to sleep?
Mayhaps his aunt who loves him's couch?
Good question. Good suggestion. This night isn't going quite as planned. Where am I going to sleep? Guess I could try MJ's. How am I going to talk my way on?
Why would you go to her first?
All right.
Fucking, I can't
How am I?
with him.
Hey.
You have an aunt who loves you very much and wants nothing more than to help you. Sleep on her couch.
I think in this universe,
She'd
you
love
are
to
MJ.
have you.
Yeah.
How am I gonna talk my way onto her couch?
She
Let's
definitely
try
broke up
this.
with him because of all this bullshit.
And he tries out ways in which he could maybe ask her. Let's see. Hi, MJ. It's Peter. Any chance I could stay over to... Oh, no.
Remember when I used to sleep in your bed? Can I do that again?
He wants her couch, to be fair. That's too formal. MJ, I was in the neighborhood and... Oh, that's lame. Hey, MJ, now that we're talking again, I thought maybe... Oh, I sound pathetic. Why am I making this such a big deal? We're friends, right? Friends crash at each other's couches all the time. It's not weird or anything. It's just a couch.
MJ, we've had one conversation since we broke up. Can I live with you again?
He wishes Harry was in town so he could crash with him.
Yeah.
But then May calls us.
Fucking aunt, thank you!
He calls us.
Right.
He lets her know they lost funding at the lab and he's been evicted. He hates to ask, but is there any room at the shelter? She says that he can use her couch.
There is a bit of pride in Peter Parker, and he doesn't want to be crashing on his aunt's couch. He's like, no, okay, I'll do this properly. I will go to a homeless shelter because I'm homeless. It's just a little bit of that.
That's not... I'm sorry, that's not... If you have family that keeps asking to support you and to help you, that's just stupid.
I'm not saying it's a good choice. I'm just saying I think it's quite lovely as a character detail. That's all.
Let's talk about Black Cat.
Yeah.
Like, if he was putting her out, it'd be one
Let's
thing.
talk about Black Cat. Felicia Hardy, the Black Cat, is robbing priceless items around the city.
Wait a second. Spider-Man also has a black cat.
Yes.
Spider-Man's the only one with a black cat.
No, Spidey has a black cat and Batman has a cat woman.
Which is also a black cat.
Black Cat is awesome.
She's going to be in the same outfit.
I personally prefer Selina Kyle, but
I personally prefer Felicia Hardy.
fair.
She calls Spider-Man, taunting him and saying that if he can catch her before she reaches her target of 50 million, she'll give it all back. Oh. She leads him on a trail across the city, leaving behind little cat statues at each scene. We don't actually see her during these missions. We'll arrive at a scene and she's like, we find her like camera equipment where she was scoping out the joint. We use the camera and we find where she's been and robbed because she's left us a cheeky little black cat statue to the door or the window of the place. So we collect all of these little statues. We learn eventually that Black Cat's real plan was to have him deliver all the statues into police custody, into Yuri Watanabe's custody, so that when combined in the evidence lockup, they would link up, boost a signal, deactivating all the alarms to the police precinct. So he basically took in a device that would Black Cat's real plan, this was all a distraction. She wanted to steal back her things the police had in lockup, undetected. She leaves behind a costume, which we'll maybe get to later, and a recording for Spider-Man.
That's a pretty good plan. That is, like, of all the villain plans so far, that's probably the smartest villain plan.
We never meet her in this game, by the way. But Spider-Man deduces that if she stole $50 million worth of things just to get her equipment back, she must have bigger plans.
She calls him Spider.
Yeah.
Hey, Spider.
She's very, like, seductive and cheeky with him on the phone. We are able to read into this that there is perhaps history there. Spidey arrives.
Just like Catwoman.
No, she's very Catwoman coded. Yeah, it's just the cat lady archetype.
Yeah, it's a seductive cat thing. But yeah, I like Felicia a lot. We arrive at Feast, where Pete hopes that May's couch is comfortable. It's been a bit of a miserable day. He lies down on the couch and falls instantly asleep. Waking up, he sees an envelope with money next to him, and Aunt May sitting at her desk, just smiling away, working.
Oh, it's not her couch at home, it's her couch at the office?
Feast. Yeah, exactly. It's at Feast. I can't take this. You can, and you will. Yeah. He says he'll pay you back soon. Just ask for help next time. You're so much like Ben. You have to learn to swallow that Parker pride and accept that you're human like the rest of us.
I love how extra she went to the point of, despite the fact he's sat next to her, not just giving the two bills, but putting them in a signed envelope.
Yeah. Martin Lee comes into the office telling May that she's going to be in charge while he goes away on a trip.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pete asks him if everything was okay. He says it's just personal business. He's been planning it for a while, but please take care of the place. It represents the best part of me. I best get busy.
That line sounds ominous. I don't want to read into it, but the line sounds really ominous.
We overhear that Mayor Osborn has just announced that he's going to give Officer Davis an award this afternoon. Peter thinks, wow, wait, isn't Osborn's campaign rally after? Oh, I see what he's doing.
Yeah.
So we swing back out into the city. Spider-Man thinks it's so humiliating taking money from May. I should head out and try and pay it forward. I've got another voicemail from Doc. Peter, I don't want to jinx us, but the lead I'm following might not only get the project back on its feet, but also expand it in ways we never could have imagined. Everything happens for a reason, even Norman pulling our plug. We really hope this works out. Doc's work is too important to go unfinished. Spidey calls Jeff Davis. Hey, Jeff, congrats on the ceremony today. He'll be glad when it's over. A truck full of armed demons scares him less than public speaking.
Question, going back a second, because I feel like I'm becoming a bit unclear. Peter and Doc Ock are making prosthesis. Mm-hmm. Why is it so important? How does it differ from the Osborn Corp prosthesis? Besides, is it just that they're making more affordable ones?
Well, that will be part of it. They're not making it for commercial reasons, but Otto is the greatest genius in this field. He will be able to make the most advanced, most responsive, most, safe, accessible prosthesis in the world.
Fair enough. I was just mainly curious how they differed, but fair enough.
Yeah. Jeff says that he is more scared by public speaking than a truck full of armed demons. But he has just got a tip. The demons are planning on moving on the Fisk construction site in Midtown. His wife will kill him if he ditches the ceremony prep to play cops and robbers. Thought maybe his friendly neighborhood partner could want to know and want to swing by. Hey-o. Peter tells him before he hangs up, here's a tip on public speaking. Just picture everyone in their underwear. Wait, not Osborn. You know what? Never mind. We follow the tip and arrive at another construction site. I say another because there's a lot of construction sites. Because Fisk, typical mob stuff, is involved in construction and, we clear out the demons and save some of Fisk's thugs before picking up a phone call one of them's getting. A familiar face is on screen. Kingpin, dressed in an orange raft jumpsuit. Hey, Willie. You. Nice jumpsuit. Very slimming. Stay out of my business. Wait, the demons. Who's their leader? You keep my men alive. Maybe I'll tell you. Saving bad guys from other bad guys. Not how I thought today would go. We arrive on the roof where there's some senior-looking demons getting into a helicopter, and it results in a kind of epic helicopter chase across the city. This was one of the demos. Yeah. Basically, there's a big container on the roof which Peter webs to the helicopter to try to slow it down, but the helicopter ends up pulling the container and dragging it through the city, sort of smashing off buildings. Eventually, it results in this moment where the helicopter doesn't have its choppers anymore, and we are sort of steering it, swinging it through the city, narrowly avoiding everyone. As the helicopter comes to a rest in a big web of Pete's making, we see two teenage boys looking on in amazement. One of them is filming. Yo, Miles! Shouts one of them. Hey, fanboy! And he turns around.
At this point, did they know that they were making the Miles game? Or did they just really want to put some cameos in?
This was their first punt, so I couldn't tell you.
Just really wanted to put the Miles cameos in.
It's just fleshing out the world building. Yeah, it's just... Yeah.
Miles is my favorite Spider-Man.
Miles says to his friend that he's got to get to City Hall for his dad's ceremony. There you go. You knew it right from the start.
Fucking love Miles Morales.
Tell your pops I said congrats, says his lovely friend. Before we head over to the ceremony, how would you like another episode of Just the Facts with JJJ?
Yay! Woo!
I thought you were about to give me another episode of Swing or Miss. I got really excited there for a second.
Adventures of Spider-Man.
And now for listener emails. May from Queens writes, You're so full of anger, and I wish you'd get help managing it. It's terrible for your health. Now, I know she speaks from a place of concern, and this is a common misconception I have to correct. I'm not full of anger. I'm full of love! I call out injustice, corruption, and crimes against humanity because I adore this city, and I want it to be better. What you hear in my voice? It's love! Nothing but love!
Almost certainly Aunt May from Queens.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I love that her response is like, I know there's love in you, please. We head to the mayor's rally, and we see Officer Davis with his wife, Rio Morales, and their son, Miles. There's the stage entrance, she says, and we'll be right out front. Sounds like a lot of people out there, he says. You'll be fine, honey. The last time I gave a speech, I was in high school. Mrs. Steinberg gave me a C-. If only Mrs. Steinberg can see you now. Hey, you got this, Dad, says Miles. I mean, come on. You saved Spider-Man. I'm pretty sure that makes you an official superhero. A superhero, he chuckles. Maybe I'm just a guy who doesn't give up. The ceremony begins. The deputy mayor hands over to Mayor Osborn, saying how fortunate our city is to have such exemplary citizens to call our community home. In the audience, Pete, now in his civilian clothes, stands with MJ, taking it all in. He tells her he thinks this gang war may finally be over, now that he's taken out the helicopter with the sort of senior vaddies in it. She says, over? I mean, there's some loose ends still to be tied up, but one truck pulled away from the scene, from a company called Consolidated Shipping. Something's not right about that. I don't know what.
Probably the fact that it's a shit name. It's clearly a
yeah. Normal business. MJ suggests that maybe after this they can grab some coffee and try and figure it out together. Norman takes the stage. I couldn't have said it better myself, but I'll try. We all know Officer Davis is a hero. Instead of coffee, could we have dinner instead? Says Peter. I could come over. I'll cook. Or we could, meet at a totally neutral location for a completely normal meal cooked by professionals. For acts of extraordinary bravery above and beyond the call of duty, it's my privilege to present Officer Jefferson Davis with the Departmental Medal of Honor. Phone call, sir. One of the kind of deputy mayor leans into to Norman as he's leaving the podium to hand over to Davis. And I'm kind of in the middle of something here, Jim. Sounds urgent, sir. Fine. Jefferson takes the stage. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I share this honor with my family, my wife, Rio, and my son, Miles. Without their support, I couldn't do what I do. His wife and son beam in the audience, Rio giving him a little supportive wink. As Norman leaves the stage, he answers his phone. Yes? An unknown voice on the other end of the line speaks. I've worked many years for this moment. Who is this? Over the coming days, your company, your city, and everything you care about will be destroyed.
Nice.
People will beg for your help, and you won't be able to save them. Norman looks totally unfazed at this, and looks at one of his aides and waggles his finger around his ear in the universal symbol for this guy is a few sandwiches short of a picnic. Listen, jackass, I get threats like this twice a week. Why don't you grow a pair and tell me what you want? To watch you suffer. The call ends, and the smug humour leaves Osborne's face. Police usher Norman away as Peter watches on for the crowd, his spider sense suddenly alerting him to danger. He begins to push his way through the crowd of supporters and sees men around the edge of the rally begin to glow with this incandescent black and white energy, negative energy pulsing through their skin. We see a man step out of a car as demons around the arena begin to explode. The man on stage, the deputy mayor, his skin begins to pulse and change, and he opens his jacket to reveal a bomb. The man's skin glows, and Jefferson Davis doesn't hesitate. He pushes the man to the ground as time slows. Jefferson throws his body on top of his colleagues as the man blows apart, the explosion rocking the stage. Everything goes black.
Jeff's not dead, is he?
What?
Everything goes black.
What?
We come to as Miles, his mother over him, screaming and crying as he wakes up. He's bloodied and covered in soot.
Are we playing as Miles?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
As we stand up, Peter, he doesn't know Peter, but Peter is unconscious next to him with MJ screaming and crying over his body. We did see when Peter was fighting through the crowd, an explosion went off and he kind of pushed MJ out of the way and got caught by it. Rio Morales heads back into the ruined square. I mean, yeah, it is a desperate scene, especially in the streets of New York. Miles collects himself and follows, crawling through rubble and burnt out cars. We rescue Rio, his mum, from some falling kind of struts that have fallen under him, and we get to see that Miles is very clever. He can't lift the fallen rubble, so he runs over to get a metal pipe to act as a lever to lift it off her. She's a bit injured, so he tells her to stay put. She screams, begging him not to, as he heads towards the stage. It is an absolutely brutal scene. Miles hides behind kind of bits of rubble and behind cars as demons walk around the scene, just executing people in the street. They're just shooting civilians in the head, gunning down innocents in cold blood, and impaling others with energy-infused swords, even as they beg for their lives. Here's one. He kind of falls against the car that Miles is hiding in, and we just see him get stabbed to death. It's fucking horrible.
Yeah.
We arrive at the stage and are spotted by a masked demon. And we've kind of got a pipe in hand, and we try and take him down. But he's trying to get to the stage to find his dad. The demon raises his sword to end the life of our brave boy. Enough, comes a voice. We have to leave now. Martin Lee, eyes glowing white, leads the demons away. They obey without question.
It was the bringing the mask to him. It was the whole quote earlier that I said, this is really fucking sus. No, it was this represents the best of me. And I'm like, well, so clearly you gotta work.
It's an early twist. There's a lot more to go with him. So he leads the way, the demons away, and they obey him without question. Miles finds his father on stage. He pleads and sobs over his body. Wake up, Dad. Wake up. 1 week later,
Jeff!
The funeral of Jefferson Davis. Norman Osborn is there, handing a folded American flag to Rio Morales, next to her husband's coffin, as Miles, MJ, and Peter look on. The rain lashes down as a company of cops, all in black, salute. Later on, Pete stands with Miles by the coffin. I'm sorry for your loss. Do I know you? Says Miles. I'm Peter Parker. I was at City Hall when... Look, I know you don't know me. I just wanted to say, I know what you're going through, says Miles. Is that what you're going to say? It all gets easier with time, or don't worry, it's all part of God's plan? Look, I'm sorry. I was just trying to help. I know. And Miles kind of turns his back on him, and Rio comes over and says, I'm sorry about that. I don't know what I'm going to do with him.
Every universe, Jefferson dies, Chase. It's the Spider-Verse thing.
He's not dead.
So we have had an actual terrorist attack. The one good cop is dead. It's time for everyone's favorite game show, Swing or Miss!
Let's go!
I've got 2 suits for you to look at right now, Chase.
I'm excited.
First up, we have the Spider-Man Noir suit.
Oh.
Mess.
Oh, why?
I like it. No, I don't like it. That jacket is bad. It doesn't go with the rest of the
Have you noticed that he is strapped? He is strapped up.
Cool. Oh Jesus, yeah, so he is. That fetish gear mask? Question mark. That collar, disgusting. The collar doesn't go with the jacket. I just don't like double-breasted things in general. I mean, like, if you look at it in, like, 2 halves, I guess it's okay. The sleeves look weird. It's not a Spider-Man suit.
It's a big mess.
I think it would have been good if not for the fact that it was also sleeveless.
Weirdly, for an all-black suit, is it kind of doing too much?
Yes. It's doing way too much.
Okay, well, how about this? Let's take you back to a classic from the 90s, the Scarlet Spider suit.
Miss? It's another miss. I hate sleeveless. I hate sleeveless things.
So anyone listening along who might not be able to see but is familiar, this is Ben Reilly's Spider-Man suit, who was a clone of Peter, and then it turned out that no, Peter was the clone all along and Ben was the original, but then no, they weren't.
Weirdly, I think that if you took the blue sleeveless hoodie off and just had the red suit, I would really like it. I really like it. It's the blue hoodies ruining it for me.
I really like this one. Next up, I've got one more for you, actually.
Oh, nice.
The Spider Armor Mark II.
Big ol' hit. Swing.
Big old swing. Which, remember, everyone, is a positive word in relation to Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is a swinger.
Yeah.
It's giving Black Panther, especially in that pose.
Yeah.
I really like this one. I love that it kind of looks like that, like, formal, like, Eastern collar there with the collar.
Yeah, there's something a bit Japanese to the design.
I like the smooth, like, digital mask. Yeah. That's a good one. It's a good... weirdly, unlike my other complaint where I said Spider-Noir didn't look Spider-Man, this one also very much does not look Spider-Man, but I still really like it.
Monty and I spoke about this earlier. Some of the suits are awesome and don't look like Peter.
No.
And
I would argue this would look great on Miles. It's a great suit. I don't think it's a Peter suit.
Yeah.
Great on Miles.
Thank you, everyone, for playing Swing or Miss! After the funeral of Jefferson Davis, we decide it's time to get out there and start looking for Martin Lee. Yuri tells us we can't start a manhunt based on a hunch from Spider-Man. Like, he's not a witness that they can speak to properly as police, so they can't really...
Yuri has his phone number.
Yeah, but, like, you can get him into a room to have him questioned by an objective.
I've also just thought out something. Just unrelated. Is it assumedly the same phone that he's, like, calling MJ and Aunt May and Doc Ock and Yuri? Like, does Yuri just have Peter Parker's...
Yeah, basically, it's the same number.
So Yuri has Peter Parker's phone number, thinking it's Spider-Man.
I would say
never looked up this phone number in the database. Go, oh.
We can write that off by Spider-Man's a technical genius. He has something on the phone that disguises it, or like, you know. Yuri says that we need solid evidence on Martin Lee, and then we can talk. We speak to MJ. She asks us how we're doing. Spider-Man, of course, has taken all the responsibility for this. He says, I'm thinking I screwed up and that kid lost his father. She says, I know you too well to say you should give yourself a break. Do the police have any leads on Lee? They're not even looking for him. Even Yuri doesn't believe me. Then it's up to us then, MJ says. I've been doing some research. Go to this address. Martin Lee bought a controlling interest in its recycling center last year.
Called Recycling Inc.
Is it really?
No, I don't know.
Before we head off to look at what they're doing at these hidden bases throughout the city, MJ tells us that she spoke with a detective who questioned one of the demons that they managed to arrest. They're all claiming Martin Lee has the power to, quote, corrupt people. Corrupt? What does that mean? They say it's some kind of mind control, she says. It brings out the negative part of you, makes you do things you wouldn't normally do. Seems a little far-fetched, says Peter. Coming from a guy who can run up walls, says MJ. So, yeah, we find evidence that the Lee and the demons are planning another attack, this time on Norman Osborn's campaign offices. He also finds an invoice from an auto shop, Pale Horse Rides.
With a Z.
It's one expensive tune-up. No idea what it's for.
I just wanted to chuck it in.
Yeah. Demon bases have sprung up through the city, and as we fight our way through one of them, soldiers in white battle armor descend onto the scene. They make their way to execute one of the demons. Spidey stops the man. Hey, that's not how we do things downtown! And you hear them over the radios. Code SM1, code SM1.
Wow.
Who the hell are you guys? Code SM1. I have a visual. Hold for Silver Bird.
I wonder what code SM2 is, because presumably code SM1
Miles.
is Miles.
A silver helicopter descends onto the scene.
Oh, I heard Silverbird and I fully thought Vulture was about to show up.
No. And a silver-haired woman in a trench coat dives from a helicopter, shooting twin guns at Spider-Man before landing in front of him. Nice entrance, he says. Solid 8 out of 10. Electrified... and there he is. Electrified ropes spring from devices she's thrown onto the ground. We're trapped. 9 out of 10, he says. She points her guns at us, and Yuri Watanabe appears on the scene, getting in between us. Release him! He works with us! Yuri, explanation, please? She tells us that this is Silver Sablinova, head of Sable International, a private security force paid for by Mayor Osborn.
Silver Sable in the comics.
Yeah.
I don't. That name means nothing to me.
Thoughts on Norman has basically paid a private army to come into the city.
Unsurprised. Yeah. Is that meant to be a shocker?
Classic
No, we've already
Norman.
met Shocker.
Wow.
Spider-Man muses, oh great, the mayor has a pet army now. Silver Sable warns us once. Next time... Shall I do her voice?
I think you could do her voice. It's a fictional country.
Next time you get in my way, I will not be gentle. Yuri apologizes for the Silver Sable thing. I should have told you earlier, but it all happened so fast. It's okay, says Peter. We're still best buds. We are not best buds, Yuri says. Well, that took a dark turn. Anyway, she says, Sable has the mayor's ear and unchecked authority. We've searched that address you found me. Found plenty of evidence on a bomb plot, but nothing that leads back directly to Martin Lee. We decide we need to go back to Feast to try and search for evidence in Martin Lee's private office. We arrive. May is delighted to see us. She's running the place while Mr. Lee is out.
Well, I've been seeing you a lot lately. Why are you suddenly coming by so much? You never visited.
He does live there now.
I should have been clear. When we make our way through Feast, Pete knows everyone that lives there. He's there all the time. They're all like, Pierre, you're such a great kid. You do so much volunteering here. Thank you so much. Like, he clearly, this is a third job for him. So, he tells us that he knows someone that might want a job at Feast. His name is Miles Morales. His father was being honored at City Hall.
What?
So yeah, basically, I can't remember what happens first. I believe it's that Rio Morales calls and is like, hey, do you have anything for my son? Like, he's in therapy, but like, he tells May that he talked to Miles at the funeral. He's a smart kid. He's just having a tough time. May smiles at us. She knew a boy like that once too.
Huh.
Peter says he remembers it helped him when he had to stay busy. It might help Miles too. So He asks me to get in touch with Rio and, I guess sort a trial shift. We sneak into Martin Lee's office, where we find a shrine to Lee's parents.
Is that a live action?
It does look
Yeah,
live
it is
action.
live action. And there's like a little keyhole hidden in it as well. Well, it's not actually hidden, you can see it there. And we find a journal from October 2018. This game is set in 2018. Written by Martin Lee. Wilson Fisk has been arrested. I can barely believe it. The day we've planned for, dreamed of, is finally... For some reason, I hesitate. Can I really go through with this? Things will happen so quickly if I give the word. My men will claim Fisk's arms, his explosives, his secrets. Will use that strength to teach Norman true pain. He'll know what it is to see the things he loved destroyed by his own hands. But achieving that end would mean giving up so much. Everything I've built here at Feast, the good I've done, could be wiped out if my plan succeeds. My chance is finally here, yet still should I turn back? Part of me wants to, but the demon is hungry. I don't think I'm strong enough to hold it back. We find a letter that Lee left for May. Dear May, very soon you'll hear stories about me. Stories claiming I'm a terrorist and a murderer. Those stories will be true. But the story we wrote together, the story of Feast, is also true. I want you to know that I always believed in our mission. It wasn't a front or a show. It was an honest expression of my heart. When you help someone, you truly do help everyone. Please don't let my failings shake your beliefs. You are strong, May. Strong enough to tell a new story at Feast, one unburdened by my faults. Thank you for all you've done, Martin. Peter wonders that Lee did so much for this city. He can't believe he was hiding such a darkness inside. We find a ghost story Lee's father used to read to him. Remember, the old man said, only balance can master the demon's strength. Without balance, the monster will turn on any who attempt to control it. With this clue, we managed to solve a sort of yin-yang inspired puzzle behind the photo of Lee's parents and unlock the door to a hidden room.
I hope you like hidden rooms, Chase.
Oh my god, there's so many fucking hidden rooms.
They all have little puzzles.
No, but they are all lore dump rooms.
Yeah.
It's the game's biggest trope.
My favorite.
We find a tape. Martin Lee's sort of leaving diary notes to himself. I can feel my power growing, feeding off my anger. Father would say I'd lost the path of balance, but he could never understand. The only way to fight a monster is to become one. And we see on the desk as well a sort of photo negative of Lee's parents. Peter wonders if this is some kind of Jungian thing, like he needed to pretend to be someone else to let his darkest feelings come out. Pretended to be a demon until he became one. Lee giving his powers to the others. How does Lee imbue them with these powers? Bioelectric induction? Compressed phase shift? This is all about Norman Osborn.
I like how his brain immediately goes, I know magic exists, but there's a science reason here.
Yeah?
To be clear, like, magic isn't super common, but this does appear to just be, a power,
Yeah, but also, if we are to the point that the Avengers have a tower here, assumedly, the magic shit has been happening.
But I tell you once
Gods
again,
are around.
put the Avengers out of your mind, because it just makes no sense.
Again, you're absolutely right, though. Peter being scientifically minded, the argument is that magic is science and science is magic. Magic is just unexplained science.
Thor stuff.
Yeah.
We might be able to use science to explain it at some point, but for all intents and purposes, it's magic.
That's very much Peter's belief. It's like magic
Yeah.
is just science you can't explain yet.
Yeah, this is all about Norman Osborn. His whole career, Lee must have been obsessed with him. An article we find is decades old. Must be back to when Oscorp was founded. Oscorp lost a loose lawsuit about improper clinical trials years ago. Did they cover it up? Peter's never heard of it. In the room, we find the folder about Devil's Breath that was taken from MJ. So that's the hidden room. And as we leave, we stumble onto Martin Lee himself, standing outside his office.
What's up, homie? Hope he locked the door.
Well, Pete has to go in through a kind of service entrance, so thankfully, Lee just sees us coming out of a supply closet. Mr. Lee, I thought you were out of town. Did you find what you were looking for? He asks. Aunt May enters the scene, this very kind of tense scene. Martin, you're back! And heading off again shortly, I'm afraid. Just need a few things from my office. Thank you. You must have heard about City Hall. Yes. Tragic. Peter was there. He was very lucky. At an Osborn rally. Lee kind of turns his head towards him. I didn't know you were a fan. What matters is you're both safe. Amen, says May. Peter doesn't take his eyes off Lee. But the bombers are still out there. Who knows what they've got planned next? I don't think you or May have anything to worry about, as long as you stay away from places you're not supposed to be. Well, I should go. May asks when he'll be back, and he says, when my work is done.
So Martin definitely knows.
No.
What?
Why would you get that?
These lines feel so... Maybe it's just the way you're reading them.
It's like-
they feel so like
Peter is-
we know this, but we can't say it.
Well, Peter is kind of giving that, but I don't think it would be fair to say Martin knows anything.
It's things like the locked
He thinks.
eyes.
I think he thinks that Peter. He thinks that Peter might suspect that Martin Lee is behind it. I don't think Lee has any reason to think he's also Spider-Man. I think he just thinks Peter's snooping around and might know something about me.
Absolutely, yeah.
Peter leaves Feast just in time to see Lee enter a car. His eyes glow white, and Peter is attacked by some of the homeless people outside of the shelter, corrupted by Lee's influence. Yeah, it's really fucked up.
You dick.
Yeah. Peter calls Yuri, letting her know that all the evidence she needs on Martin Lee is waiting in his office at Feast. So I want to talk about a couple of quick side things as we swing back out into the city. There are a lot of side quests in this game, and I've not covered most of them. And people will be annoyed, but there is just truly not enough to say about most of them. For example, Taskmaster, who you may or may not be familiar with.
I love that show.
This is our challenges. Greg Davis pops up. Taskmaster is a mercenary villain. He has a skull mask face. He leaves combat challenges for us throughout the city. When we complete a few of them, he pops up and he's like, I've been doing this so I can learn your moves. Ha 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 ha. And then we fight him and we beat him, and he comes back later, we fight him, we beat him again. There's not much more for me to say about that.
His whole gimmick is he has a photographic memory, so he's able to fight with the moves of anybody he's ever fought before.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's a cool power.
Spider-Man also meets our friend Howard, who's an old man who hangs out on a kind of apartment roof, and he keeps pigeons, but someone let all his pigeons loose. Please help them, Spider-Man. So around the city we can find Howard's
friendly neighborhood.
Howard's pigeons. There's a lot of friendly neighborhood stuff. We can find Howard's pigeons flying around. We have to fly around, catch them, send them back to him, and throughout this he'll call and be like, Betsy just flew back to the coop. Thanks, Spider-Man. And he's like, oh, you and your wife, Howard, you must be so happy to have them back. And through this mission, we learn that Howard's wife passed recently. So it's just him and his pigeons now.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's a great little quest, but you're right. There's
Weirdly
not much
morbid.
more.
The next one I'm going to cover in detail that people are going to find annoying because it's almost no detail, but there may be more in the next episode. This is Screwball.
Okay.
Chase, if Chase was a Spider-Man villain.
I'm really anxious because you put this in our group chat saying this is you.
I did.
And Monty went, this is Chase, and you went, what a horrible thing to say about a friend.
So we get a call that Screwball, an upcoming live streamer, wants Spider-Man to participate in some of her streams. Pete's like, obviously not, I need to save a city. But then Screwball will call us and be like, I got hostage unless you come and do my challenges.
Yeah.
We'll go there, we'll fight off some of her fans, which are like just goons. And it's like, she's like, clicks, clicks, clicks. We gotta get the engagement up. Oh, Spider-Man, quick, fight them faster. We're losing subscribers.
Why is this me?
I don't know, I just thought it was funny.
This is all three of us.
She's like, eventually, we do enough challenges throughout the city. She gets arrested. But as she's getting arrested, she's like, you'll never stop me. I didn't do any of this. It was all my subscribers.
Yeah.
Which, kind of good point, I guess. So she gets arrested and taken away. People are either very annoyed by her or find her quite campy and fun. She's very much you couldn't have had her 20 years ago as a villain.
No.
You know?
I think she's awesome and fun and so irritating. Not that you're irritating, Chase. You're wonderful and I love you.
Thanks.
But you're also Screwball.
Thanks.
Jesus.
She's great.
We get a call from lovely Otto, who says, Parker, exciting news. Come by the lab. This is my defining moment. I can't wait to show you.
Terrifying. Ominous.
As we head through the city, it's clear that things are getting worse. Demons and Sable forces are at basically open warfare at points throughout the city. Gunfire rings through Manhattan. Sable forces will just about tolerate...
Classic Manhattan.
Yeah. Sable forces will just about tolerate our help for now. They're kind of like, Spider-Man, fuck off. Go away, we don't need you. So basically, whenever you're throughout the city, crimes happen sporadically, and you can kind of swing down and stop them for crime tokens when you can use to upgrade yourself. We arrive at the lab, where there are now like thousands of dollars of new equipment in boxes all over the place.
Huh?
Yeah.
Money?
Otto's like, I called in every last favor. Took out a few loans. It's like we're starting over again, but this time's going to be different. We're just getting started. You know, until now, we've been looking at prosthetics from the wrong perspective. Why restore people to what they were when we can make them better? Okay, I think that should do it. You ready?
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh yeah, and this is also where we learn that
Otto also likes the color green.
he puts like a much smaller neural interface on his head. It's like a sort of like a hat size thing, and we use it to control a prosthetic arm trying to lift a mug of coffee. It seems to be working, but then it malfunctions, smashing the cup of coffee on the floor, and Otto snaps. Damn it! This is all your fault, Norman, you son of a bitch! And Peter kind of tries to lighten him, and he's like, I know who you're not voting for in the next election. Sorry, I have a habit of making bad jokes in tense situations. It was a good joke, Parker. Just a bit of an overreaction on my part. No, don't worry. Why don't you take a break? I'll clean this up, get us ready for another test. I hope you don't mind me asking, but it seems like you and Norman have a bit of history. We were lab partners in college, became friends, and decided to start a business. We both had visions of changing the world, just in different ways. Wait, were you there at Oscorp when it started? I'm half the reason it's called Oscorp. In grad school, everyone called us the O's. And then Corp just added to that. It was a very catchy name.
Wow.
So Oscorp is O's Corp.
Yeah.
It's so silly.
Don't mind
I love
it. Pete asks why he left. Norman became more and more obsessed with Gen Tech. He started a project I considered unethical, and there was this. Anyway, lawyers got involved. I chose to leave in exchange for a settlement, but that money didn't last very long. I've relied on grants ever since. If this project doesn't work, don't worry, it'll work. Just let me fix this up. So we give Otto a break while Pete does his computery tech stuff. I should point out, these are mini games. There are mixed to negative reaction from the fan base. You can kind of do these little... It's either a spectrograph where you identify chemical components by like matching up black bars, or it's like a computer network where you help a signal go through a circuit, and you've got to get it to a specific charge. They're kind of busy work.
Thankfully, they patched the game so that you can in fact just press the triangle button
To skip them!
Yeah.
Never a sign of a great... So Pete works on it, kind of fixing the arm, and Otto says he'll brew us some fresh coffee. Otto says the next step is the neural interface. Pete says that's a lot of work for him to do by himself. You sure you can handle it? Apparently not, Otto says, judging by today's debacle. Pete says, I still haven't found another job. I know, it's okay, don't worry. What's a few bucks when you're trying to change the world, right? And Otto lifts his mug to him and goes, to changing the world. And Pete uses the robot arm and they cheers each other.
Wow.
It's very cute. Both little nerds look very happy, I've written.
Yeah.
As Spidey, we fight an ever harder battle against the open gang war brewing in the streets. But there's one man who's here for the job, here to do the job. After all, when Spider-Cop's on the job, come hell or high water, the job gets... Nope. Yuri cuts across. She never admitted, but the chief was warming to Spider-Cop. His casual disregard for by-the-book thinking was a breath of fresh air. She'd come around someday. While at dinner that night, MJ tells Pete that she snuck to the address he found, the chop shop where Lee had had some expensive tuning done. This is another MJ mission where we sneak around a spooky chop shop with bikers all over the place. They're talking about something called grave dust. The boss doesn't want word of it getting out. MJ overhears a tense conversation happening in the office. Boss, come on, Lee'll never notice. The window of the office explodes as the man named Rick comes flying through it. And we see his boss, Tombstone. You're right, Rick. Won't notice because it won't be there. God damn it, I said I'll fix it! Rick aims his gun at his boss. Tombstone, presses Rick's gun against his own head. Let's see if you've got some stones, Rick. Let's see if they break. He puts his gun, Rick's gun to his head and forces him to pull the trigger. The bullet doesn't leave a mark and the empty, the crushed head of the bullet, falls to the floor by their feet. Such a disappointment. He kills Rick. And now I need a new welder. MJ escapes, having learned that Tombstone designed an armoured vehicle for Lee. What in the world would he need with that? So they sit together after dinner, sort of trying to plan. Peter's kind of begging her not to stop doing things like that. Yeah. But MJ really doesn't seem to like when he tells her, not to put herself in danger.
It's
that is a man who cannot die.
It's almost like she wishes that he would do the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Bit of a hypocrite.
Yeah, but, it is also a man who cannot die, and she's sneaking into his base of operations.
So a man that Peter will inevitably also throw himself against.
All she needs to do is give Spider-Man a quick ring and go, by the way, Tombstone's doing something weird. Can you go check it out, please, Mr. Strong Superman?
I'm on MJ's side.
I think it's very, very interesting, and I absolutely I understand why she feels the way she feels, but I think it's written well enough that you can absolutely understand why Peter would also be a bit done with this shtick.
Peter's not done with her shtick. He's just he understands exactly who she is and why she's doing what she is. He's just overprotective. And it's another thing where she feels like, why is it all on you? Why is the responsibility on you? I'm the most capable reporter in the city. You can't be this overbearing. MJ says whatever he's cooking right now smells amazing. He says it's chicken curry, it just needs to simmer. She says, no dumplings, I hope. You're never going to let me live that one down, are you? I can't believe they evacuated the whole building. The great dumpling catastrophe. I know. In January, too, your neighbors hated me. Yeah, they were pretty happy when we broke up. Let's talk about what you found in Lee's office. They talk about the issues Lee clearly has with Norman Osborn. We don't know what he's up to, but his next move looks like it involves Devil's Breath, whatever that is. MJ says she'll dig into it. So she was thinking, what if we teamed up? Pete says, you want to be my sidekick, like Spider-Girl, Spider-Woman? No, not a sidekick, a partner. We get an alert over the phone that the residence of a Mr. Charles Standish has been broken into. Carrie will have to wait, and we make to swing out the house. Pete, is like, I'm so sorry, can I? She doesn't mind him going, but she's like, have you left your clothes on a pile in my kitchen floor? And he backs back into the kitchen and picks them up and puts them on the surface and then swings away.
She has a really nice apartment for a reporter.
She's been a reporter for a few years. She's doing better than him. Yeah. She's doing better than him. Yeah. So what do we know about Charles?
The real reason he wants back in the relationship.
Yeah, that couch looks comfy as fuck. What do we know about Charles Standish? MJ says he's the chief financial. She's on the phone, obviously. Obviously, all of them are all the time. He's the chief financial officer at Oscorp. Single, known for his art collection. If Lee's going after him, it's got to be related to Devil's Breath. She says she'll run a search on everything she can find. So, are we partners now, MJ says? Because it sure feels like we are. Partners. Sounds good. We rescue Charles Standish, who's kind of, you can tell it's a game from 2018. He's a sort of tech asshole, is what he's supposed to look. He is the financial officer, but he looks like the bad guy from a Watch Dogs game. We rescue Standish from Lee's demons.
Oh my gosh, in the Amazing Spider-Man thing.
He's very surprised that Spider-Man even knows the name Devil's Breath. I don't even know what it is, says Charles. Mr. Osborn's been pouring money into it for years, but he keeps the whole project a secret. I'm the only one who has any record of it. Not anymore, says Spider-Man. Looks like they copied some records to a secure server payroll information on a Dr. Isaac Delaney. Who is he? Charles says he doesn't know, honestly. Sable forces step in suddenly, taking custody of Charles.
I don't like as well that Chase is generically short for Charles.
Oh, is it? Oh,
It isn't in my personal case, but for many people it is, yes.
Oh, that's so interesting. I didn't know that.
Well, this isn't a Chase. This guy isn't a Chase. He's
This guy would
he's a
call him a
loser. Yeah, this guy.
Thank you. I agree.
Sable forces step in, taking custody of loser Standish. Pete thinks that it's almost like Sable are trying to keep him quiet. We get a voicemail. Sorry to call so late. My mind's bursting with ideas. We've been thinking too small. Peter, why replace missing limbs with facsimiles when we can improve upon them? People who've lost an arm understandably want it back, but we can give them something better. The human body doesn't need to be the default. We can go so far beyond it.
We can give them 8 arms on their back.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, like,
Or wait, no, 4 arms.
in isolation, this isn't a bad idea, right? You know, what we're limited to 5 fingers and a hand. If we can give something that makes someone's life even more accessible and easy, why wouldn't we?
Yeah, well, the argument could be that we're not doing accessibility anymore, are we? We're doing just full-blown transhumanism.
I just like the surface level thought that he's like, putting an arm back where the arm originally was? No! We're putting it on their back now!
He never said back. No, the back has never come into
I'm
it.
just going off the dock off then.
Yeah, it's just make the
I think the
body
implication is it would be in the same place. Like,
So it's replacing it then!
so we need to try and find Dr. Delaney, who was on this server payroll thing relating to Devil's Breath. MJ gets back to us because she's far more competent than we are, and she's found out that Dr. Delaney is tonight attending a Halloween party at Empire State University.
better. Yay.
Looks like he might be dressed as one of Spidey's greatest foes.
Wow.
We make our way to the party on campus.
I love it.
Night of 1,000 Ghouls reads the sign at the entrance. Peter remarks that at least he doesn't have to change. We make our way through the revelers. There are devils, Spider-Man, and various fancy dress villains from Pete's past. We see, there's an Electro there.
I love it being in the classic costume
Yeah,
though.
it's a good excuse to have some classic costumes. Speaking of which, we see Mysterio's Hall of Mirrors.
Ooh.
Pete tries to ask Mysterio about Dr. Delaney. The knockoff Mysterio responds, Spider-Man, my nemesis! You won't catch me this time! And throws like a tiny little smoke bomb that you can just see through and runs back into the Hall of Mirrors. We confront them and this is all a bit of cosplay fun for the Mysterio, who pulls out a Nerf gun and starts shooting at Spider-Man, who does the most extra dodging of all time. And then kicks Mysterio's helmet off. And it's just
Jesus Christ.
it's
This is just a college kid trying to have some fun on Halloween.
he yanks it off with a web, so he doesn't kick them.
He's like, I agonized over that.
Wait. So he yanks it up to a web.
Yeah.
Be like, I'm the real one.
Yeah, basically. The Mysterio is like, hey, what's wrong with you? I worked on that helmet for a week.
Yeah.
We learn from a knockoff Vulture that Dr. Delaney is on the dance floor, tearing it up while dressed as the Lizard. I mean, really, I couldn't convey. I should have made a gif, but the dance moves are excellent.
Well, not one, but at least 2 people are wearing those horrible horse head masks.
Yeah. So we approach him, and a big dummy who's dressed as the Rhino wants to pretend fight.
Oh, yeah.
But he actually ends up knocking us to the ground, and we see in the meantime some very real demons coming to take the knockers. So he loses his lovely lizard mask, and they lead him away. And we end up having to actually web the fake Rhino, and everyone's like you said, everyone's like, holy crap, it's the real one! Oh my god, because there's 5 other Spider-Men there. We follow Delaney's kidnappers into one of the university buildings. From the vents, we see our friend Martin Lee confront the terrified doctor. You recently began working with someone at an Oscorp lab. How do you know that? We don't have much time, Isaac. Tell me his name. Martin Lee transforms into Mr. Negative. This is his moniker. In this universe, I think it's Jameson that gives him the name. Later
Some
on.
guy with negative powers.
Yeah.
What do we call him? It's very cool for comics, Chase.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's very colourful, it's very Spider-Man, and then when you see Mr. Negative in the colours, they purposefully make it look like that negative effect you get on photographs. It looks really, really cool.
He places a hand on Delaney, whose skin begins to glow this kind of inverse negative. Spider-Man arrives in the scene. Show's over, Lee! Lee grabs two of his henchmen, seeming to drain the life force from them as they collapse on either side of him, and fires a huge blast of this negative energy at Spider-Man.
Would Lee, who knows Peter very well, not recognize his voice?
I think you're underestimating how, like, shouting and fighting and, like, someone under a mask, and there never being any connection.
You say that, but it's a big point in Batman that he goes all gruff.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but that's Batman.
He fires a huge blast of negative energy, which collapses part of the room on top of Pete, pinning him down. He turns back to Delaney, his name, and instantly, now that he's under this effect, Delaney's kind of dead-eyed, and he says, Dr. Morgan Michaels. Thank you, says Lee. One of Lee's men hand Delaney a gun, and still in a trance, he just instantly shoots himself in the head.
Yeah.
Oh, that's mean.
The camera pans over to his little lizard feet as he collapses. He's still wearing the big green lizard feet.
Oh.
We chase Lee from the university, but he begins to corrupt innocent partygoers who attack each other in a blind rage. So we're like subduing these like innocent university
You're just being a
students.
dick, man.
And like he's just trying to stall us. But obviously we end up fighting people dressed as Spidey. Like the Rhino is suddenly like a big scary villain because he's corrupted. Spidey webs them all up, and Lee gets away. Spidey calls Yuri, asking her to look up a Dr. Morgan Michaels. She mentions to us that Sable are being less and less cooperative. It's clear they're not here to act on the same side. MJ calls to let us know that Fisk kept files on Osborn. Work they've done together over the years, documented in the form of invoices. All roads seem to lead back to Norman Osborn. We sneak into Osborn Towers. It's heavily guarded by Sable security, but Pete manages to sneak into his office. Norman's office, that is. This mission is very PS2. You're like climbing up the side of the skyscraper, and there are like laser grids going across and spotlights, and you've kind of got to run at the right time. We eventually manage to sneak into his office, where we find Norman's computer, where there's a slideshow summarizing a peer-reviewed study marked Project GR27. This isn't a funny bit.
It's just, again, it's one of my biggest criticisms of the Spider-Man games is like the way they do their lore dumps. This is just a PowerPoint that explains.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Neil comes out of a wall, sits down with his laptop, and puts his Yeti mic on the table.
So, Project GR27, commissioned by Oscorp and review conducted by Dr. Isaac Delaney. Chief scientist, Dr. Morgan Michaels. This is Dr. Morgan Michaels, you can see on screen here. Summarised the GR27 status, expedients, and risks, and recommend next steps. The project seems to have been a study into AI-controlled CRISPR genome editing to identify and replace genetic mutations and errors. If it worked, it could cure any genetic disease. They've been testing on rats, but the viral delivery mechanism incorrectly targeted the subject's own immune systems. Infected subjects were highly contagious, one rat would be exposed, and within 7 days, all 40 rats were dead.
I also just love this very serious thing, again, with the very pretty pink background.
Oh, yeah. Someone in his marketing team is just trying to inject a bit of positivity into
And also, whoever went looking for this stock photo of a guy with a...
Someone was on...
briefcase.
Someone went on Unsplash to get that. So the takeaway of this is one infected subject could trigger a global epidemic. The lab's heads nicknamed it Devil's Breath. Osborn believes a reward of a successful trial is worth the risk, but they have to keep it secret, or as Monty said, it would be a PR nightmare for the company. And as you can see here, Dr. Michaels keeps the only sample of Devil's Breath on his person in a suitcase handcuffed to his arm. How does he? Sure, I don't know. We've had a voicemail from Ock. Peter, I've had an epiphany. It's all about the mind. Take me, for example. A mind of unlimited potential, shackled to a tired old body. Think of what the mind could achieve if it were freed. In developing our neural interface, we need to think beyond replicating the tired potterings of our physical form. Instead, reach out into imagination and possibility. Reach into the mind. MJ and Pete discover that Sable have opened illegal internment camps over the city. They are just like straight up arresting people without due process. MJ sneaks into one of these camps where she finds Charles Standish, the man that was whisked away before he could sort of seemingly say anything. She says, she's not with the demons. I'm not with Sable. I'm a reporter. And I want to see Lee stopped, just like you. Watson, he says, I've heard your byline. Sable won't listen to me. She has Michaels in the Bowery. They're moving him to a new safe house tomorrow at noon, but she's totally ignoring Grand Central. Demons were talking about it when they held me. They were going to get what? What do the demons need to get at Grand Central? Suddenly, he's holding a gun because he's like nervous about Sable and the demons. He's not actually threatening MJ. Suddenly, Dummy McDummerson comes into the scene. Spidey swings in. Charles goes, what the fuck? And like trips over and knocks himself out. Ooh, says Spidey, that was not a Sable guy. Definitely. Okay, and like Sable are now swarming in. He's like, time to go, MJ. Sorry, Charlie. Sorry. And she is absolutely furious with us for this. She calls him and she's like, okay, sorry, Charlie. You knocked a man out. Destroy my research and the best you've got is sorry, Charlie. Is everything a joke to you? What? No, MJ, I screwed up. It was a tension breaker. Tension breaker, right. You know this is exactly why we broke up. I thought we broke up so you could focus on your career. We broke up because you won't stop treating me like a baby. Don't do this, MJ. Don't do that, MJ. It's too dangerous, MJ. I may not have super spider powers, but I'm not made out of glass. You snuck into the middle of an armed military... You know what? Can we not do this now? Did you learn anything about Dr. Michaels? Michaels is in the Bowery somewhere. Sable's moving him tomorrow at noon. Awesome. Anything else? Was he saying something about Grand Central before I jumped in? No. Pete, it was nothing. Listen, I gotta go. And she hangs up on us. Rio Morales calls us, thanking us for getting Miles a job at Feast. I should tell you, she says, he has reservations. I finally give him a choice. This or even more therapy. He needs this. He hates to feel like a victim or be pitied. Gotcha, Pete says. I'm the same way. I'll let Aunt May know. I'll make sure I'm there his first day. We arrive back at the lab. Morning, Parker. Or is it evening? Doesn't matter. Time to work on the neural interface. Peter tinkers with the headset, making sure the response time is as quick as possible. The doctor places the device on his head, plugging it in. Pete stands beside like a large emergency stop button, just because of how things went last time. The doc readies himself and begins to remotely operate two metallic arms with the power of his mind. Ooh. He uses them to like pick up a tennis ball and start juggling it. And as it drops, the arm extends out like a tentacle and grabs the ball. And then he begins to like juggle more tennis balls than anyone could conceivably do themselves. Like this is more capable than with because it's reacting faster than like the human mind would. He's able to like juggle like 100 balls.
Oh, lovely concept.
Yeah, they are both again. They are both delighted by this.
I cannot see this ever going wrong.
He tries to remove the interface from himself. He like puts the balls back into the thing, and he tries to remove the interface, but like is like having legitimate difficulty getting his arm up there. Pete comes to help him and asks him what's going on. It's become that obvious. My doctors call it a degenerative neurological disorder, probably caused by overexposure to toxic chemicals in my reckless youth. I'm sorry, is there anything I can do to help? You already are. The worst part is, it only affects the muscles. The mind continues to work, but it can no longer do. You're the only person who knows, Peter. I'd like to keep it that way. Of course, says Peter. If you'd like to seek a position with more of a future, I came here to work for you because of what you've got up here, and that's not going anywhere. Jab was pointing to my head there, listener, while he said that. The two men hug.
Oh, love it.
Peter finds x-rays in the doc's lab. Within a year, he'll lose motor function. And if we're not careful, an intracranial implant could make things worse, even alter his personality. We need to proceed carefully.
We're just setting up for like the biggest heartbreak in this game.
What do you mean?
Oh.
Maybe it's a misdirect.
Of course.
Or maybe he'll be fine to become a superhero.
Has there been a Doc Ock superhero? I know there's been a Doc Ock Spider-Man at one point. Has there been a Doc Ock superhero?
Yes.
In the comics?
Yes. Doc Ock he's not Doc Ock, he's Otto Octavius. He is, just to be clear, he's losing motor function. His mind will continue to be fine, but he's on a ticking clock.
Yeah, I got that, but we also now know that if he uses the brain thing, it's going to alter his personality.
Well, no, we know that they need to proceed.
Okay, but might in a video game means it will.
On the way over to Feast, Spidey sees Miles Morales standing up to a group of muggers on his first day of work. He's like heading to work. Spidey, 2 in the morning, Spidey hits them with his body.
I'm just imagining one of those like ragdoll memes where his body just ragdolls into frames, just like plows through them.
Does it seriously take this many guys to rob a teenager? And as we say, we pulled him off, as Chase might say.
I was about to say.
As Miles stands up, he's like, "You're Spider-Man. You're the amazing Spider-Man. You're the spectacular Spider-Man." And a few other choice adjectives Jameson uses. Spidey says, "Look, that was really brave, but next time, leave the fighting to the pros, okay?" And he like turns to leave, and Miles is like, "Okay, but what if there aren't any around?" Well, you can't just go swinging at someone twice your size. I mean, don't get me wrong, I fight guys stronger than me all the time. But when I do it, I have, like that time you fought Rhino on the Brooklyn Bridge? That was so awesome. Perfect example. If the other guy's bigger, you gotta be quicker, okay? Okay, says Miles, but that's easier for you to say. All right, says Spider-Man, put him up. Seriously? And he like gives him a little lesson on how to throw a punch. And like Miles punches him and he's like, "Okay, well, kind of hurt. All right, okay." And as he leaves, Miles is like, "I just punched Spider-Man." And like heads off for his first day of work.
Oh, I love Miles so much.
I love that he's such a fanboy that he's able to
so
reference specific
excitable.
moments.
Yeah,
It's great.
He's lovely. This game is just stuff full of like smart little nerds who are very excited about things.
Yeah.
We find Dr. Morgan Michaels being escorted by Sable to a new warehouse.
Oh.
Safe house. Obviously, they are immediately attacked by demons. When we get there, Sable are like, "We've got this, Spider-Man, go away!" And Spidey's just like, "Sure you do."
That's the end of that bit.
No. A firefight breaks out and Michaels is dragged away. Basically, the huge armored vehicle that this is what Tombstone was working on for Martin Lee. Huge armored vehicle smashes through the streets. The back of the vehicle opens. The demons open fire on the Sable men, and Lee is brought to the front of the cab where Mr. Negative is waiting for him. "Welcome aboard, Doctor." We chase down the vehicle as it smashes its way through the streets. Cue a fight on top of the APC. Sable arrives and opens fire on the demons, warning Spider-Man that if he's in the way, he will be taken down if necessary. It's so hard to get the action poses, but like there's a great shot of Spidey like flying through a broken building as we continue through the city.
I think I've seen that one.
A street preacher stands on a box, like preaching to a handful of people, like 2 or 3 people. He's like, he is coming, and he will destroy all sinners." The truck smashes through the street corner and the man narrowly avoids being squished. "Sorry!" Spider-Man shouts back. We fight our way to the front of the truck. As we reach the passenger side of the cab, there we are, he's shooting at us from inside the cab. As we reach the passenger side of the cab, Lee grabs Spider-Man's arm, negative energy pulsing through his hand. What are you doing?" "Giving you a new perspective." Spidey falls into another world, a negative realm where the grotesque events of the City Hall attack are played out. Lee kind of teleports through this world, this negative realm. "What the hell? I must be honest. I was hoping to bring you here. My abilities lend me a certain persuasiveness. I've been watching you. I was waiting for you at City Hall. You never came. Where were you?" See, he has no idea that Peter's Spider-Man. "Is this real or is this in my mind? It's a shame so many had to die with no heroes to save them. That officer saved your life, didn't he? And he was here because of you. Norman wanted to use him. A futile gesture in the end. And where was Norman during all of this? Slinking away like a rat. He knew what was going to happen and he fled. Norman is a hidden cancer in this city. He must be excised with no trace of corruption to return."
He knew because you called him.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, he got...
That's the point he's making. I told Norman, and Norman did what Norman always does.
He didn't warn anyone, he just slinked
ran
away.
Robin.
Norman hides behind his mask of lies. I will break it apart and drag him into the light. And like a demon mask sort of appears in the air before Spider-Man. "Put it on. Put on the mask and become one of us." Spidey, obviously, superpower, willpower, fights him off, and like the sort of husks of the souls that like Lee has corrupted or taken over or drained the life of, an army of faceless ghosts, spirits lost to the terror of Martin Lee's rage, appear all around us, and we kind of fight them off. Martin, their blood is on your hands. You can stop Osborn. You have so much strength. I can give you the will. Their bodies filled the gutter and you did nothing. I can't save everyone. What's one life? A simple trade, one life for a city of souls. You defend Osborn while he sits in his ivory tower. This isn't real. Show me your true strength. Kneel before me. I will pull your mask off and expose you. Don't know why I said that twice. The shadows are sworn to me, and I will give them strength. Lee's rage manifests. So there's us fighting off the sort of ghostly army. Lee's rage manifests as a colossal demon mask, which we sort of have to fight as it shoots energy at us. We eventually break through the mask, defeating Lee in his mind palace and returning to the side of the truck. You're like right back to the side of the truck like no time has passed at all. We defeat him, the truck flips over and crashes. When we come to, Dr. Michaels is alive, but the Devil's Breath and Lee are gone. A furious Silver Sable confronts us. You think you save people, but you just make it worse. She pulls guns on us, but Dr. Michaels gets in the way, reminding Sable they need to go and brief Osborn about what's happened. He says he won't forget what Spider-Man did for him today. Yuri tells us that Lee escaped in a black sedan and one of her officers has reported a sighting. As we head that way, Dr. Michaels calls us from a radio that he's nicked from Sable. Listen, he says, transport hubs are the most likely release points for Devil's Breath. Airports, bus terminals, train stations. It'll spread like wildfire there. Why the hell is Oscorp developing a bioweapon in the city? Shouldn't this be in an Arctic bunker? Devil's Breath is personal for Norman, Michaels tells us. It's been his obsession for decades. The project breaks every state and federal regulation on the books, but he doesn't care. If the city finds out, he can kiss re-election goodbye. Never mind re-election. He'd be tried in The Hague for war crimes. Why are you telling me all this? Aren't you just as culpable as Norman? Yes, completely. But Lee's actions have been a wake-up call. We've ignored the project's risks for too long. I trust you, Spider-Man. You're the only one who's trying to do the right thing. Please, protect the city from my mistakes.
Do we know yet why Osborn's so obsessed with it?
No.
Okay.
No. We know that it is in an ideal world, it's a genome treatment, CRISPR genome editing treatment that can get rid of any, what's the word for a genetic disorder?
Just preemptively, is that not roughly what the serum that turned him into Green Goblin is?
Good shout. Could be. In the movies, I can't remember what it is. It's just
I thought it was some sort of...
Back to formula.
We head out into the city where Ock calls us. Parker, I just wanted to thank you for your work on the neural interface. It's been invaluable. I wish you could see what it means right now. It's beginning to dawn on me just how powerful and insidious the forces arrayed against true visionaries are. I promise you, though it won't be long, success will come, whatever it takes. Powerful and insidious forces, Pete thinks. I don't like the sound of that. Need to check on Ock when I get a chance. He doesn't call him Ock, he calls him Doc. We arrive at the scene of the sedan that the cops saw, but Lee is gone, along with Devil's Breath. We switch to MJ, who has arrived at Grand Central, which, bear in mind, is where they've overheard that Lee has something planned. Today, at Grand Central Station, Oscorp have got a kind of tech expo, so we can wander around and look at some future tech projects that Oscorp are working on. This includes things like invisibility cloaking technology, so like MJ can walk onto a platform and becomes invisible. Eventually, we find the Gaia Dispersal microbe device, which releases specifically formulated microbes into the atmosphere, for example, to clean oceans and rivers. The voiceover talks about returning Earth to the state that it was when man first walked the Earth. But yes, this is a dispersal device for chemicals. Just like in Batman Begins.
Yes, it's very Batman Begins. One of the other kind of silly things she finds, you got the invisible cloaking tech, but you also see they've not been made yet, but I'm pretty sure there's a glider like hologram or something.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Like the Goblin Glider. It's just kind of there. It's not made yet,
Yeah. Get that good memory.
It's a fun little like, oh yeah, okay.
As MJ looks at the device, Martin Lee calmly walks through the crowded room and quietly confronts her. This will be easier for everyone if you remain calm and do what I say. MJ immediately shouts for a nearby policeman and is like, hey, help, help! And the policeman is immediately killed by a demon, like murdered in cold blood. Men bar the station doors and gather the helpless members of the public in the middle of the room. Lee calls Osborne's office, tells him he wants him in the station in 30 minutes or there will be more blood on his hands. Lee loads the Gaia dispersal device with the Devil's Breath, a biological bomb waiting to be set off. MJ texts Pete, telling him to come to the expo, wear your best suit.
Oh, you got me so excited.
Oh, you're thinking swing and a miss.
I'm chomping at the bit for some suits.
We are playing as MJ during this, but it's kind of they're working together. So she's kind of crouched in the middle of the room as a hostage, and she can look around and be like, up there, there's an air vent, and like direct him and be like, over there, there's a guard in his own, and he'll pick off the guard.
Has MJ ever been a spider person?
Probably. Everything that you can imagine has probably happened.
I'm one of this mission is awesome. I'm one of the people that's quite critical of the inclusion of the MJ missions in this as well.
Why?
It's playing as MJ is fine. It's not interesting gameplay. They don't flesh out her stealth mechanics enough, and they do feel a bit tedious on repeat playthroughs. However, one of the ways that it's quite powerful is Tombstone, to go to the Tombstone mission. When you're sneaking through, you see Tombstone's massive silhouette behind the glass. And it's for looking at these supervillains from a human perspective is very powerful. This is arguably, but I can kind of do without those missions. They're fine. They're whatever. This is a mission where it's like this is just really fun, really interesting because you're getting to play.
They're working together.
Yeah.
They're so
Really cool.
Eventually, Pete is taking out guards in the room while she is disarming the device, and he's like, they're talking about like, how do you do it? And you've actually got to do it. Like you've got to follow wires and cut them in the right order.
Yeah. Really cool.
Lee makes for an escape, having the bomb's been stopped, the device is safe, and we're at the station. Lee runs for an underground train. As Peter chases him, he remarks that none of this would have happened if Fisk was still around. Pete kind of admits to himself that Fisk did control this kind of thing from getting out of control. We follow him onto the moving train carriage as the men prepare to fight. This is quite a cool fight. None of the boss fights in this game are stellar, but they are visually very good. So you're like fighting him through the train carriage as he blasts huge waves of energy, and you've got to kind of throw yourself at the wall out of the way. And the train is just being torn up as the two are fighting. Eventually, we push him to the front of the train, where Lee is eventually like smashed and electrocuted on the kind of driving control panel, and he falls unconscious. But obviously now, no way to stop the train. Oh, there's the fight, and we're sort of tearing up the carriage. So, Chase, what does Spider-Man do in this circumstance? There's a train out of control.
Puts on a new suit.
He fires webs at either side. And as he makes to pull, just like Tobey Maguire, they snap in his hand.
Does
and,
he
he looks down and he goes, "It totally worked last time." So he calls Yuri and he's like, "Where are we right now? Yuri, is that street above us still closed off for construction work?" And she's like, "Yes." And so he like fires webs and like makes a ramp, and the train is like driven up through the street into the abandoned onto this abandoned street, and it finally comes to a stop.
I love Spider-Man using his knowledge of being a New Yorker to help.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, is that construction site still on?
Yeah.
Those
That is
road
really
work
cool.
still happening? It's just really cool.
But also, how did he know where under the street he was?
He's a genius.
Sure.
He's a genius who spends all day going through New York.
Brain is a GPS.
A defeated Lee crawls through the wreckage of the train before being taken away to the raft. The Devil's Breath is secured by Sable. So MJ's still mad at Peter, and he like tries to call her, and she's like, "I don't really want to talk right now. Just give me some time." I think she also tells us that she thinks we had different ideas about what this partner thing means. She has work to do. Leave me alone for now. Yuri calls us. "You did it," she says. "Lee's off to the raft. Devil's Breath is safe with Sable. How do you feel?" "How much time do you have?" "Not much. Heroics for you means paperwork for me, but I wanted to say, good job." "Thanks, Yuri. I kind of needed that."
which is Lee dealt with now.
Lee's in the raft.
Oh.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure I'll be back, but also okay.
We head to the lab to check on Otto. He's in a sort of jumpsuit, and he's got a couple of mugs. One of the mugs, along with some of the branding in the room, something you touched on earlier, Monty, is AIM. I can see you've got a mouthful of rap right now. Do you want to give a quick background to AIM? Which isn't that important for this game. It just seems like this is maybe where he's got some of his funding.
Pretty much, yeah. When he said he called in a few favours, the idea is that he reached out to...
Well, he got loans first and foremost, but yeah.
Is MODOK, who's the villain from Marvel's Avengers. I mean, it's not necessarily that he even exists in this universe, but AIM is MODOK's company. He's the big-headed guy. Big head guy.
Tiny chair.
Tiny chair.
It's another tech science company in the universe at this point.
But that's all that is.
Just a cheeky little nod here. One of the mugs is AIM branded. So we arrive at the lab, and there's a bottle of whiskey sitting on the table. Not like he's been drinking whiskey. It's like a bottle of celebratory whiskey sitting on the table. Otto arrives dressed in a green jumpsuit. We're just in time to celebrate. Pete says, looking around the lab. Wait, where are the arms? Doc smiles as 4 metallic tentacles emerge from the back of his suit. At the end of each is a claw, its fingers tipped with a yellow spike. The claws pick up the bottle of whiskey and pour Peter a cupful. And the doc explains that he got the cranial interface to work. Speeds of under 1 nanosecond, faster than signals travel inside the brain. No one can take this away from us. We did this. Your work on the neural web was the key, Peter. Peter's nervous that they haven't properly tested it yet, so he begins to run a diagnostic. Voltages inside the transmitter are spiking, and we're doing this as it's happening. We're doing the little it's the one good time we're doing these puzzles.
Yeah.
Because as we're doing it, more problems keep happening. Cascading spikes of voltages blossoming throughout the system. An alarm sounds on the screen. Possible side effects. Probability of seizures. Short-term memory loss. Long-term memory loss. Limbic degradation. Front lobe edema. And these are high percentages against some of these. We turn back to the doctor, but he's just so happy he doesn't want to hear about problems. It's time to show the world what we've done. Pete warns him they need to run more tests. And his voice snaps. We've done enough testing! For the first time in my life, I don't feel like a failure. I feel like me.
Doc, why? But like a few hours ago, Doc, the tentacles had hands at the end of them. Why did you change it to be spikes?
Yeah, why are they claws now?
Why are they claws now, Doc?
What happened to the opposable thumbs?
Yeah.
Oh, Pete tells him, Otto, you're not a failure. This could permanently damage your mind. Please. Otto calms down and nods. Right. And we disconnect the tentacles from him. I'll keep at it. We'll work out some bugs. You're sure you're okay? Yes, Peter. Thank you for everything. And as we leave him, he's like, the arms are disconnected and just sort of hanging limply around him, and he's just him again, and he's all sad. And as Pete leaves, Otto's attention is drawn towards the TV. We now take you live to Grand Central Terminal, where Mayor Osborne is about to address the media. Norman comes over the screen. Martin Lee is now behind bars. When I make a promise to this city, I keep it. The people of New York will soon make a decision that could change the course of this city forever. Otto reconnects the network at the base of his neck, and his eyes twitch with rage. So when you're casting your vote, remember what I've done. We are safer now than we ever have been. Liar! Otto smashes the screen with a tentacle. You have no idea what you're in for. Okay.
There you go, Chase.
I'm Sag.
Good. Good.
Boo. I mean, it's frustrating because this was so clearly coming, the entire thing. Yeah. The whole, the science.
They're not trying to hide it that much. Yeah. We when we played through it, we obviously know what's going to happen, but it doesn't take away from it. I don't think.
My thought when I first played it, Chase, wasn't it is inevitable. Of course, the first shot you see, he's got the 4 arms, but it's less. Oh, okay, right. I see where this is going. And more. Oh, probably the sequel. That's what I thought. I thought, Otto's going to be our pal.
Because we are over halfway through the game now, and
this is here he is. I love the way it's written with all the nuance, and I love that you get to see that believable growth to see how Otto gets here. Oh, I had something else, now I've forgotten it. Well, that's it. It's a ticking time bomb of tension. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's a beautiful ticking. Like, you're dealing with Martin Lee.
And there are so many fake outs where he's putting the network on, something goes wrong, and you're like this, or he snaps a little bit.
Yeah. It's
But
like, oh, here
what
it is.
comes
Yeah.
what comes across is just Peters loves this man. Like he admires him, he worships the ground he walks on, and Otto loves him. Like he just Peter is the best example of a young man, of a man trying to make the world better. And it's fucking tragic. We give Miles a call because obviously now the news about Martin Lee has come out. Like Martin Lee killed his dad. Miles, I wanted to see how you're doing in the news about Lee. If you don't want to work at Feast anymore, man, I would understand. And Miles says, I did want to quit when I heard. Then I remembered what my dad used to say. A hero's just a guy who doesn't give up. That's true, says Peter, assuming he's doing the right thing. I got you the job. I'd hate for you to keep doing it because if you think it's wrong. The people here, Miles says. Nothing Martin Lee did is their fault. They need help, and I'm helping them. I think Dad would want me to stay. I think he'd be proud. I know he would, says Pete. And Miles, I'm proud of you too. Anytime you want to talk, just call. We go to Feast in person to check on May to see how she's doing. I don't know how I feel about you running this place all by yourself. These people need help, Peter. If I lose a few hours of sleep, so be it. Have you heard from Mr. Lee since? No, but the Martin I knew couldn't have done that. Whatever's become of him, that's not the one I want to remember. So how are things with MJ? Yeah, you know, it's complicated. And she says, honesty. That's what got me and Ben through the rough patches. You guys had rough patches? Oh, sure. Especially when we were your age. So are you honest with her? Does she know the real you?
I mean, yes.
More than anyone.
Arguably, Maish is the only person who does.
A spokesperson comes over the TV, confirming that a truck has been attacked carrying the device used in the Grand Central Terminal attack. May's like, it never ends, and turns back around. She's like, Peter? And Peter's gone, obviously. We go looking for the Devil's Breath. As we arrive at the scene, Yuri flies over on a chopper. Oh yeah, here's the scene. We find the container, the Gaia dispersal container. The Devil's Breath is gone.
Wait, do they not need the Gaia dispersal container though?
Well, it's maybe not. Someone's been taken.
Sure.
Someone's taken it. And Sable are like, Sable are useless. They're like, they're this always happens. So
Fascism
Yuri
is never
flies.
clever.
Yuri flies over in a chopper. As they begin to coordinate, explosions rock the horizon. She tells you to hop on, and we jump onto the side of the Yuricopter. I like this shot. I like this shot of them together.
Yeah, it's great.
Explosions from Rykers Island.
Here we go.
Spidey hops on the copter. It's a coordinated attack. Every cell in Rykers Island has been breached. The raft should be safe because it's on a separate power grid. It's much more secure. But every prisoner in the main prison has broken out. Spidey fights his way through the prison. We fight like 200 goons.
It's an awesome
where
sequence.
somehow they've all already got access to sniper rifles and rocket launchers. Clearly the raft has too much of that stuff in security rooms. And eventually they get a helicopter as well. They're flying a helicopter over, shooting at us. We eventually bring it down. Yuri is just finished. This takes 20 minutes. Yuri's she finishes saying how things are almost under control when suddenly the raft is illuminated by a flash of electricity. Maybe it's not as bad as it looks. We fly over the top of the raft on the Yuricopter, where Electro is waiting for us.
Yeah.
He launches a bolt of lightning at them, causing Yuri's helicopter to crash. Spidey pulls them both out and makes after Electro, which leads to a chase around the island facility. So we're kind of going right round the raft.
It's an awesome sequence.
Yeah.
You're dodging the lightning and yeah.
Welcome to the party! Just in time for the fireworks! And we're flying around. He's throwing electricity at us. We eventually catch up to Max Dillon, Electro, on the roof of the raft. Party's almost over. How do you like my new suit? Dashing, Peter says. Where'd you get it? It's an exclusive club. The Vulture, Adrian Toombs, decked out in a high-tech metallic suit, flies overhead as Alexei Sitvich, the Rhino, wearing the suit he can never leave, lands next to us.
Wait, an exclusive club. Are we getting Sinister 7 right now?
Pete manages to dodge as the Vulture swoops, webbing him to Rhino as a helicopter flies overhead with Mr. Negative Martin Lee leaning from the side. He throws a blast of energy at us, and we almost land in the waiting arms of Matt Gargan, the Scorpion.
That's 5.
Poison tail at the ready. Lee leaps from the chopper as Spider-Man stands, surrounded by 5 of his greatest villains.
Sinister 5.
Remember, Lee shouts over the noise of the helicopter blades. He said not to kill him. Good idea, says Pete. In fact, we don't have to do this at all if you don't want to. Rhino kind of goes, oh, we definitely want to. They charge all at once. Peter maybe could have stood up to 2, 3, maybe even 4 of them, but all of them together is too much. As he makes to avoid one of Vulture's attacks, he is stabbed by Scorpion's poison tail.
What a dick.
He collapses in a heap, and they get around him and just start kicking the shit out of him. Like 5 superpowered people just start kicking him half to death. It's fucking brutal. He's like in a heap. He's screaming in pain as he's being electrocuted. It's really violent. And he crawls desperately towards the edge of the roof of the raft, where a metal claw grabs his hand.
Hopefully in a good way, question mark?
Otto Octavius appears, arms carrying him onto the roof of the raft, where he lifts Spider-Man into the air by his foot. He's really he's got like both his hands.
But he doesn't know who's... Oh, no!
He's got both his hands in one claw and both his feet in another. He's holding him like that in front of him. And he says, first and final warning, and holds him right up to his face. Stay out of our way. And...
Wait, why is he involved? What did he do?
Sinister Six, Chase.
Well, exactly. No, Chase has raised a good question. What the fuck?
Why is he here?
And he throws Spidey off the edge of the building. He plummets down into the black of the night. As he falls, the Sinister Six await their leader's instruction.
Is Otto their leader?
Each of you has a job to do. Your debts will be repaid when we're done.
Oh,
Fade to black.
okay. He's broken them out of prison to go fuck up Osborn. Okay.
Captain Watanabe finds an unconscious Spider-Man floating in the river. At an Osborn rally in Times Square, Otto watches from the rooftops. I love these shots, man. He climbs his way down a digital billboard of Norman's face, arms smashing the pixelated image of his former friend as he descends, like his visage literally cracking under the weight of Otto's truth. In his hands, or in his arms, he holds the devil's breath. All these years, he says, all these lies. He turns back to look at the broken image of Osborn on the screen behind him. It's over, Norman. Time to give them the truth. His metal arms carry the vial over the street and rip it apart, releasing the devil's breath.
Oh. Well, that's probably not good.
Nope.
That's kind of the end of Act 2.
Going into Act 3.
Kill our friend?
Gotta murder our
Kill
friend.
anyone.
We murder our friend.
Our hero, our idol, our one of our father figures, really,
Our daddy.
has our daddy has been twisted by our creation. He's released a deadly virus over the citizens of New York, and our greatest villains are free. It's time to play everyone's favorite game, Swing or Miss!
Yes!
First up,
Give us a Doc Ock suit.
Spider-Punk.
Oh.
It's okay.
Oh, wow.
Is that a swing or a miss?
It's a swing.
Yes.
But I feel like I'm also just so warped by my opinions of Hobie's Spider-Punk,
Yeah.
which is just so much better.
Yeah, that's
This is fine. I wouldn't wear it, but I don't hate it. I love there's people who have modded this game to put like Hobie's Spider-Man in it, and they do it in his frame rate. So it's like him going at like the slower frame rate against the 60 FPS of the game, and it looks so good.
Spider-Man wrestler.
Oh god.
The biggest swing that we have ever had.
Really?
Absolutely not.
I would wear this for the entire
I mean, it's
game.
just joggies and a jumper. You pretty much are wearing this.
This is Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1,
Yeah.
and I unironically love it because I think it's so funny the thought of this guy beating up the villains.
Spider-Man 2099.
Ooh.
Oh, I mean, a massive swing. That looks fucking great.
Another spider armor.
Great. Swing.
Spirit spider.
Swing.
Another spider armor.
Weirdly metallic, but swing.
The Last Stand suit.
Weirdly villain militaristic, but swing. I take it back. This is the biggest swing.
What have we got here?
Ooh. I don't know why he's upside down. Is that intentional? Is he upside down so I can give him a little kiss? Give him a little smooch? Because you can only kiss Spider-Man when he's upside down. He's stuck to the ceiling in his little branded Spidey-Man boxers.
Yeah, he's naked apart from a mask and his Spider-Man box or
It's
something.
great.
Black Cat suit. This is the one she
Swing.
gives you.
These are great.
Spider-Man UK.
Mess. What is this meant to be? Oh, he's meant to be a fucking Union Jack. I hate it. Big mess.
What an incredible run of swings! The audience is going fucking ballistic!
Let's go!
And we head back to Feast, where
Swing!
we are dealing.
Swing for Aunt May.
Aunt May is a swing. Feast.
Aunt May's a swinger?
I knew you were gonna make that joke.
This is 24 hours later. The city is devastated by this. This is the beginning of an epidemic.
Glad to see that a standard mask is good enough to deal with microparticulates.
Where would they have anything better? Like, this is 24 hours. Feast has been adapted into an emergency medical center. May is there, of course, helping anyone she can.
The irony of the place Martin Lee created becoming the emergency shelter for the problem that Martin Lee created.
As you pointed out, staff are all wearing PPE, wearing masks. May coughs, taking hers off to discover flecks of blood on the inside.
Oh!
Yeah, this virus is fucking up everyone.
What does it actually do? Just kill you?
I don't know if it's on a genetic level. I mean, I suppose it is like a horrific
Is it like destroying their literal genes?
Yeah, I think so. Like radiation might, or
Jesus,
yeah.
okay.
MJ is speaking on the TV. She's almost like a war correspondent right now. She's on TV reporting from around the city. A quarantine has been enforced by Sable, who are controlling all access in and out of the city. Osborn has publicly blamed Spider-Man for the virus's release, branding him a public enemy.
Do they have an explanation for how that works?
MJ reveals publicly that the virus actually originated in a secret New York-based Osborn lab.
Oh, good.
Ooh.
He listens from his office, finishes a glass of whiskey, and crushes it in his hand, and there's like blood and broken glass on the floor. Spidey has been out for a full day since Yuri found him in the river. She calls him to tell him he can't go back out there. He has 14 broken bones, which means I still have 192 non-broken ones. Yuri kept Spider-Man...
Oh, god damn, fuck.
What? I got him.
It's a quick break, damn it.
Great for my flow. Only kidding. This is the whole show.
You ruined the flow.
Yuri kept Spider-Man hidden yesterday. He's been branded the priority target by Sable, so she had to give him, secret medical treatment. She's such a G. Escaped prisoners have set rooftop bases up across the city, while Sable have set up even more internment camps where they are now torturing anyone they suspect of involvement.
As much as I don't want to say it's a ripoff, this is just the Arkham Knight shot.
Yeah, kind of. But I mean,
It's
it's also
literally just the Arkham Knight
it's also
shot.
just comics.
Yeah, it's just super
You know.
Oh, I just meant from a video game perspective.
Yeah, it looks similar, but they both, yeah. The city is aflame, and Spider-Man prepares himself for the hardest night of his life. Yuri tells us that Rhino's assaulting the Upper West Precinct and Electro's at the Upper East. We need you to turn the tide. Head to either, they're both equally screwed. Aunt May tells us that they need help at a Feast sister site uptown, the Veteran Center in Harlem. Men from Rykers are assaulting the outside, demanding food and supplies. The staff are barricaded, but they need help. Miles and she are headed there to evacuate the staff. We arrive in Harlem to find the building on fire. As Pete heads in to save the day, Everything kind of goes wrong in there. There's things falling, and he has to be saved by MJ and Miles. And they eventually all of them manage to get out of the building. But he's badly out of breath and shaken up afterwards. Is May okay? He's like coughing up, smoke. And everyone's safe, MJ tells him. MJ, if it wasn't for you and Miles, I would have been as dead as the 8,500 times you've saved me. Pretty sure I still owe you a few. He laughs and it hurts. I'm sorry I screwed things up, MJ says. She kind of blames herself for this, him coming and getting hurt. Are we still partners? Always. Miles enters, like, holding a box of water bottles. And he's like, hey, I didn't know if you wanted sparkling or flat or spring or mountain spring, so I got one of each. And am I interrupting? And Spider-Man has to suddenly pretend like he's not getting all cozy with MJ. He's like, no. MJ, Ms. Watson and I were just talking strategy. Strategy? That's right. The city's in danger, MJ says. It needs our help. Spider-Man turns to Miles. All of our help. All right, says Miles. Call the play, coach. Okay, divide and conquer. Ms. Watson, we need an anti-serum for Devil's Breath. Oscorp's developing something, but there's no way they can keep it safe from Octavius and Lee. We need to find the cure and protect it. Miles, you need to be my eyes and ears at Feast. Anything goes wrong, you call me. We've got to keep that place and the people there safe. All right, got it. And what are you going to do? A gang of costume nutjobs has taken the city apart piece by piece. Time I return the favor. Miles is like, all right, wait, how do I call you? I mean, do you have like a cell phone in your pockets or something? Ms. Watson can give you my number. Good luck, team. And he swings off and he's like, you have his number. Are you Spider-Man's girlfriend? That would be so cool if... And she like grabs him and she's like, come on, Sherlock. Show me what you got in this water smorgasbord.
Ex-girlfriend. Fuck off.
Okay, so Miles is watching Feast and MJ is tracking a Devil's Breath cure. Time to start focus on Otto, stopping whatever he had planned. So we go to the site where Otto first released Devil's Breath, and we manage to follow a trail there back to a secret base that Otto had set up above the square.
Our lore base.
Yeah. Everything he's been doing has been in the recent days and weeks. This is all like a new plan in the last few days. He finds equipment for various different members of the Sinister Six around.
He's really fast.
Yeah, he's like the biggest genius in the world.
3 days and he makes entire suits.
We find blueprints and Norman Osborn posters, and we find voice notes from Otto. Norman, feel like I can't turn around without seeing his face. He smiles for the cameras, collects his accolades, and keeps his boot heel pressed against my neck. Why can't anyone else see how selfish he is, how reckless, how evil? If only they could be made to see the Norman I know, the man behind the mask. It looks like Otto's been studying Sable's tech for weaknesses. And we find the tapes that he's been, as he describes the work he's offering to do for each of the Sinister Six. He finds a note for Rhino. Alexei, I've followed your career with great interest. The world sees you as a witless dullard. I see a warrior with a poet's heart. I know you desire freedom from the battlesuit you're sealed inside. Help me achieve my goals. Freedom shall be yours. Matt Gargan, a.k.a. Scorpion, a.k.a. Crazy Pants McCrazy, according to Spider-Man. It's rare for me to admit this, Mr. Gargan. Clearing your debts was more difficult than I anticipated. You are in arrears to some demanding individuals. Once the reservoir job is finished, your financial obligations will be finished as well. Otto Octavius is nothing if not persuasive. Yeah.
Chase, this is really fun. So Scorpion is also trapped inside his suit. This is from the comics. Long story short, Scorpion is a creation of J. Jonah Jameson.
What?
He is just a random convict that J. Jonah Jameson basically bought and sealed into the suit. He bought the suit from some black market thing, sealed him into the suit as a means of someone who could stop and defeat Spider-Man once and for all, and he thought he could defeat Scorpion. But Scorpion just got trapped in the suit and was like, oh, yeah, I can't get out of the suit, Jonah. So he went after Jonah. Spider-Man beats up Scorpion and saves Jonah's life. That's the story in the comics. And I think the essence of that is in this game. Jonah, I think, is the creator of Scorpion.
I don't remember that,
No?
but maybe not in this game. Maybe in
not
the
in
next
this
one.
universe then, but I'm pretty sure, yeah.
We find some more tapes about the other members of the group. Vulture, Adrian, What bitter irony that your miraculous wings should have wrought such horrors on your body. So Adrian has like spinal cancer because of the equipment that he's been wired into for years. When our
Are they all stuck in their suits?
No. When your work is settled, but it is a thing, the treatment I've developed will cure you. You won't shuffle off this mortal coil yet, my friend.
By the way, in the past 3 days, I cured cancer.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just like, I'll cure your spinal cancer.
This is just a side effect of me wanting to kill Osborn.
Electro. Max, when you first conveyed your dream to me, I thought you insane. But as I dove deeper into the problem, I have discovered a way to give us both what we desire. I promise you, when we are done, you will be pure energy. Or so close to it as to make the difference irrelevant. We find more information, and Peter realizes Otto's being driven by his rage. The neural interface is exacerbating it, but his hate is genuine. He'll destroy the whole city to hurt Norman. Martin Lee, we find a tape for. Oh, Martin. When I first realized it was you targeting Osborn these past weeks, I was shocked and saddened. But then, as the situation evolved before my eyes, I felt inspired. You took the bold steps I had always dreamed of, Martin. You took them without hesitation. I am honored now to jam you on this path towards justice. It looks like Otto and Lee have more of a history than we thought. How long have they known each other? Probably time to... Oh no, one more thing. We find the last stage of the plan is to assault Oscorp Tower directly. And there's a focus on something called Project Icarus. We find a case marked Icarus and open it, finding nothing but a screen inside. Doc Ock's face blinks into life. Hello, Spider-Man. We've never been properly introduced. I'm Otto Octavius. There is no Icarus, is there? No. Martin needs no assistance to secure the anti-serum. Icarus was a ruse to get you into position. Into position? There's a bomb inside the case. Spidey...
It's like you walked too close to the sun. I mean, the bomb.
Wait, is this about me? Oh, shit. Spidey's sense goes off. We dive out of the building, only to be captured in the claws of Vulture.
Yes.
Old man Adrian Toombs catches us, dragging us through the city. MJ calls us as we're like tied up and being smashed through the city by Vulture, and he's like, traffic's rough. Listen, Lee's gunning for the anti-serum. We need to find the Devil's Breath lab before he does. She's on it right now, pulling every building permanent in the city. If there's a record of this lab, she will find it. That's great. Talk soon, MJ. And Vulture is taking Spidey to a specific place, one of the Oscorp Industries factories, where Electro is waiting for them. We are forced to fight both Electro and Vulture. Cue epic air battle against both of them.
Yeah.
And they're kind of bantering back and forth. Teamwork's beautiful, ain't it? Says Electro. Helping you reach those unattainable goals, like killing Spider-Man. That was almost heartwarming, Electro. You really grew in prison, didn't you? Missed me. Now you gotta... Know what? Forget I said anything. And they're kind of, as they're getting beaten up, they're like taking turns. They're like, V, you're up.
Yeah.
We fight them between the smokestacks of the factory, the sky illuminated by Mac's electrical energy. It's a fun fight, and despite their best efforts, Spidey eventually gets the best of them. We find a hands-free with Otto's voice coming from it. What's happening? Electro's been grounded. Spider-Man, I presume. If you really cared about this city, you'd be helping me expose Osborn for the criminal he is. By killing innocent people? You're sick. You need help. I have all the help I need, and we are not going to stop until Norman gets what he deserves. He swings away to the top of a building, and it's like Peter's beat up, and he like sits down against the thing. He's like, hate it when they team up. I just need to catch my breath. And he like closes his eyes and opens them, and it's morning. He's just like falling asleep all night because he's fucking shattered. So we update Yuri. Vulture and Electro are down. 4 to go. Yuri says that she noticed a rooftop in Times Square exploded. Wouldn't happen to be related to you, was it? He explains that this was Octavius' staging ground. He's using the villains to pull apart Oscorp. Vulture and Electro were targeting the power plants. Scorpion's going after the water treatment. Not sure about Rhino yet. Something along the shoreline.
Yeah.
So we check on Miles. He's busy at the shelter, mask and gloves on, and he says that May's working doubly as hard as anyone else. Nobody can make that woman take a break when she doesn't want to. We arrive at the reservoir. Still no sign of Scorpion. And as we're sneaking around, Scorpion sneaks up behind us, swings his tail at us, a short fight ensues, and we are stabbed in the shoulder with Scorpion's poison tail.
What happened earlier? I feel like this poison's not very effective.
Well, Spider-Man was out for 24 hours right afterwards, so... Scorpion leans in. Matt Gargan leans into Spider-Man's face. I'd end it now, but Octavius is paying, and he wants to torture you, which I respect. Damn it, says Spider-Man. What did he inject me with? Scorpion leaves, and Spidey begins to hallucinate. We fall into a Scorpion world. I should point out we can alternate between swinging through New York, but in the hallucination, it's filling up with a sea of poison. So, like, you're swinging through skyscrapers and you can't touch the sea of poison. Inside the dream world, we find the door to Otto's lab. When we open it up, Otto is there waiting for us in Pete's mind. They have some conversations. This happens like 2 or 3 times. Is this real or in my mind? It can be both. Doc, it's just the hallucinations intensifying. You can get through this, Mind Otto tells us. Doc,
Moving the scarecrow level.
you sound like I did before the interface affected my mind. My obsessions were always there, but the interface fully allowed me to embrace them. I have to fix this. Fix you somehow. Peter, always trying to shoulder the responsibility even when there's none. No hope. I can't tell you how many times your unfettered optimism kept me going when things looked bleak.
Wait, he does know it's Peter.
This is in Pete's mind.
Pete is just having a conversation with himself.
He's just having a conversation with
Okay.
This is Pete's subconscious.
I was getting confused.
Yeah.
Well, which part threw you for a loop here, Chase? Was it the green gas world, or was the fact that Otto doesn't have his arms?
Or I said several times this was in
Dream
Pete's
world.
mind.
Wait a second.
Lock in!
This dream world is in New York.
Okay, so they continue their conversation. Pete is, promising that he will help him. Oh, yes, you're sorry, Otto says, and yet you let it happen. Makes one wonder where your priorities lie. I mean, if I was really that important to you, why would you let me destroy myself? I can help you. It's the neural web. It's affecting your mind. You mean the neural web you helped to create? The truth is, you did this to me. Without your help, I would never have done any of these terrible things. We find this sort of antitoxin. It's a plant that we're looking for that Peter can then take to a lab, which he can then synthesize, go and take somewhere else and make himself an antidote. And as we kind of go through, the versions of Ock are kind of getting more and more twisted, more and more cruel, more interesting dialogue. Again, this is coming from Pete's subconscious, and this is just guilt, isn't it? This is just guilt and responsibility. But this is me, Otto tells him at one point. The me polite society found inconvenient. The parts of myself I suppress, but you help me break these chains. I'm sorry. I'll find a way to help you. Stop deluding yourself. You never help anyone. The poison isn't in you. You are the poison. Everyone you touch suffers. I want nothing from you. You're a failure. At life, love, career, you bring nothing but pain. Stop, I'm not giving up on you. So you can treat me like all the rest, containing me, suffocating me. I will let my genius shine on its own. I saw you, Peter, taking notes, stealing ideas, a rat in my own lab. So, we managed to fight our way through. The final kind of stage of this is all the buildings are sort of collapsing. There's a sea of poison and sort of 50-foot scorpion tails are kind of coming up and striking at us from this sea of poison. And we fight off a number of different sort of, maybe they're real, maybe they're not, Matt Gargans. And eventually, we take the antidote and we return to the real world. Oh, Scorpion says some fucked up stuff to him too. Scorpion, and again, maybe it's in his mind, is like, if I was your uncle, I would have jumped in front of a bullet too.
Jesus. Rob.
Okay, Scorpion dealt with. We head back out to deal with the other myriad problems that are going on. We call MJ. Mind if I toss a thorny ethical question at you? When is it okay to give up on a friend? Wow, Pete. Are you thinking of Otto? Understandable. Man, the high-minded, generous part of me wants to say never. Being a true friend means being there, even when people lose their way, but with what Otto's done, I just don't know, Pete. I guess you have to decide if the Otto Octavius you knew is still in there or not. Maybe he was never in there at all. Thanks, MJ. I gotta process some stuff, I think. So he realizes that he hasn't seen Aunt May since the start of this, and we head to Feast. How are you holding up, May? Good, but... And she immediately kind of collapses over, and we take her in our arms. I'm okay, she says. Pete replies, didn't you tell me something once about accepting that I'm just human, just like everyone else? You and Ben, masters at turning my own words against me. I'm fine, Peter, just a little run down. During all this, Miles heroically sneaks out to steal some antibiotics from a camp of criminals on his own. He's got like he can hack stuff with his phone by this point, because he's a genius too. He can sort of hack drones and get the attention away to sneak through the camp. But Feast are running out of antibiotics, so he goes to steal them.
I'm sorry, do they not need them as well? They're also humans being affected by this.
I know, a very good point. A very good point.
I've only just thought of the fact that it's going to be the weirdest conversation because Peter knows Miles so well by the point that Miles eventually gets bitten himself that he's like, by the way, Peter, I can do the things too now. Let's go. You're like, the fuck is this?
Well, he doesn't know the other way around yet, I guess. While Miles is sneaking around, he's basically at like what do you call it? Like with a shipping yard. Yeah. And Rhino shows up, and we do this whole like Monty pointed out earlier. There's a mission where Rhino is tearing apart this shipping yard container
that
place,
awesome.
And Miles has to just sneak around because he has nothing, and it's terrifying. But as Miles sneaks away, Pete arrives to confront Rhino, and it turns out Scorpion. It's another 2-on-1 fight. Scorpion's back. I guess we just defeated, imagined version. Mind Scorpions. The worst kind. Pick on someone your own size, Rhino. There is no one my size, Spider.
Rhino is probably my favorite.
Me
member of
too.
Sinister Six.
Maybe we could just talk it out. Rhino, what's with the team up? Thought you were a loner. Means and ends, Spider. All of life is means and ends. Yeah. So what's the end for you in these particular means? Freedom. True freedom. No more suit. No more Rhino. I always liked the suit. So distinctive. Be thankful, Spider. Without suit, I make less trouble for you. But what about our stimulating battle-side chats? You are funny, little one. I am almost sorry to destroy your tiny face. Almost.
That one doesn't count. It wasn't a Peter quip.
No, it's a Rhino.
Rhino quips don't count.
So we're fighting off both of them, and these two do not like each other, Scorpion and Rhino, and they're just insulting each other. Like Scorpion's like, "You're a stupid oaf," and they're like, Spidey's literally like, "You are like an old married couple." And Spider-Man's like, "So you and Octavius, you have a name yet? The Scary Six? The Dirty Half Dozen? How about the we murdered Spider-Man and used his corpse for a blanket six?"
Is that Scorpion?
Yeah, and Rhino goes, "Gargan, please, you embarrass yourself. Gargan, what are you doing?" Yeah. So, Rhino's getting his suit removed. What did Octavius promise you, Scorpion? Money. Gargan has no principles. He fights for profit. Untrue. I'd rip Spider-Man's face off for free. The money's a bonus. Pathetic Gargan. I will squash the bug myself. So, eventually, they kind of end up fighting each other, and Pete simply diverts them into a shipping container and webs the door shut, and they're left there, like, rattling. They're both, like, trying to kill each other.
Are we meant to believe that neither of them is strong enough to tear through the steel?
Arguably, Rhino.
When I wrote this, I knew you were going to ask that. And in the preceding weeks, I've not come up with a good answer. There you go. You win. Is that what you wanted?
I do. Thank you. I'm also very glad and heartwarmed that you know me so well.
A little forced time together might help you boys learn to play nice. All right, Yuri. That's 4 down. Just Octavius and Lee left. Something tells me that won't be as easy, she says. They're only half of our problem, though. Devil's Breath cases are getting worse, and Oscorp is being coy about an anti-serum. I'm worried they're seeing dollar signs in a seller's market. I'd expect nothing less from our beloved mayor. Leave Devil's Breath to me. One of my best people's on it. We switch to MJ. She tells Pete that she's been through the city, state, and federal databases. If this Devil's Breath lab does exist, it is entirely off the books. The only other place she can think to look is Norman's personal files. Spidey says he's already been through the office computer. Wait, are you thinking the penthouse? That building is full of Sable's men. So MJ arrives in the lobby of the penthouse.
It's good that we know Sable's a shit security company.
All the residents are down in the lobby complaining as well because nobody is being let up into their apartments. Only Norman can kind of go up and down. The way she gets around security is really good. She goes up to groups of complaining residents and riles them up.
Yeah.
So she's like, they're like, it's ridiculous. We can't get up to our apartment. She'll just sidle up and go, hey, do you know I heard they're letting Oscorp donors up and down whenever they want? They're like, what? And then there's someone else being like, God, I have asthma and I've left my inhaler in my apartment. And she's like, you could sue. That's a medical thing. You could have... And slowly, they all go and confront security and they're like, hey! And security eventually come out the office and MJ sneaks in and gets in an elevator. And just as Norman and Sable are leaving, going out into the ground floor, and Sable looks around and almost sees MJ and she flattens herself against the wall and gets off the elevator and arrives in Norman's private apartment.
It's a beautiful environment. This.
Oh,
It's
yes.
really lovely.
Huge.
Yeah.
I wish I had money.
Oh, yeah, I'd live here in a heartbeat.
Through clues in the apartment, we find all sorts of interesting tidbits. We eventually find a military helmet, a metal helmet, kind of like an Iron Man mask. And when she puts it on, it reveals hidden details, like a vault in one of the walls. There's a passkey, and the clue for the passkey is Harry's last day. Assuming this must mean the date their friend Harry left on his trip to Europe, MJ goes to investigate the rest of the apartment to find the exact date.
I love the thought that she finds a helmet and just goes, hee dress up time.
100%.
She had no reason to believe that this helmet was going to have secret cameras in it that revealed things. She just saw a helmet and went, yes.
Catches herself in a mirror and evil MJ's like, Spider-Man must die. Whoa, God, take that off.
This helmet's weirdly goblin looking.
There's a voicemail from Harry on one of the phones. We hear Harry's voice. Hey, Dad. On my way to Dr. Michael's for one last shot before the big trip. If you're going to meet me there, could you grab my journal from the room? I just wanted to record some thoughts on the big Bon Voyage day.
Sorry, what? One last shot before?
Yeah, presumably a...
I don't like the thought that his secret
Dr.
chemical
Michaels,
chemical research doctor, not medical doctor, is giving him his vaccinations for his trip.
We do know that Dr. Michaels was also a doctor before, but I guess that does seem like... also, poor Dr. Michaels just having to do medical stuff for his boss's son. I feel he goes, listen, I know I don't say this enough, but thank you, Dad. For letting me do this. I love you.
I think it's just also the fact they call it an injection and not a vaccine or something more medical.
He says one last shot. He says one, which you would get a shot before you go away. She says, wow, I haven't heard Harry's voice in so long, but he sounds tired. Let's hope that journal is still there. Gotta check his room. Pete and I loved coming over here to watch movies when we were kids.
Because it was really rich looking.
Pretty much.
We didn't have money.
It's a different world from Queens. Funny how Harry always wanted the opposite. Nothing made him happier than watching cartoons on the little TV in May's kitchen. I used to be so jealous of Harry's family. They were all so happy, at least compared to me and my dad. But when Emily, his mum, got sick, everything changed. She talks about how they used to make fun of Harry for calling her the prettiest mom at Midtown. But he might have been right. MJ's saying she says, stone cold hottie, rest in peace.
Yeah, MILF.
Regret saying MILF there, right before.
It was terrible timing. It was a bad joke.
You should only say that about your wife.
That's true.
I do. It will soon be an M. So on the back of the picture frame, she finds the key for Harry's room. We also find orders around Norman's place that Harry's room is to be left exactly as it is until he returns. We head inside Harry's room, where we find a wheelchair and a hospital bed. What? This can't be for Harry, can it? She finds law books around the room. Harry wanted to be an environmental attorney, like his mum. She finds his journal. His last entry is marked July 18th, so that's months ago.
Guys, I don't think he's in Europe. I get the feeling he might not be in Europe.
Silver Sable, she managed to, in the journal, she finds that the last entry is marked July 18th. She surmises this must be the date he left, and this must be the code to the secret room. Just then, Silver Sable and Norman return to the apartment with even more guards, just as MJ manages to slip into the secret vault in the wall. It turns out to be a lab full of experimental weapons, grenades, containers full of spiders. Is Norman trying to reverse engineer Peter's abilities? There are labels on the cages. Electrokinesis, optical camouflage. What the hell is he trying to create?
Miles Morales. He's trying to create Miles Morales.
What are these things? Prototype hand grenades?
I'm sorry, is the post-credit scene of this game going to be Miles getting bitten?
Yeah. There's like, sorry, that wasn't a yeah, it was just, that was a, there's like super creepy container in the corner of the room and like spider containers all around. She finds a tape recorder on the table. Norman Osborn, GR27 research log. This whole project has gone to hell. GR27 is a cure, not a disease. But try telling that to the evening news. Somehow they've picked up the technician's morbid nickname, Devil's Breath, and are using it to stoke hysteria. They have no idea what it's really capable of. A cure for cancer, genetic disorders, birth defects.
You don't need that cure for cancer. Actually, Otto already created that in his spare time.
We'll say that he cured one kind.
Yeah.
With just a little more research, I know we could perfect it. Instead, I'll spend 18 months on the PR mop-up. What a waste of time. Devil's Breath isn't a cure, MJ says. It's an attempt at isn't a disease. It's attempted a cure. With some more snooping, we discover a hidden file. GR27 Martin Lee incident. She plays the recording. It's labeled August 17th, 1986. Labeled Martin Lee Third Clinical Trial. We open with kind of shaky VHS footage from inside a lab. Martin Lee's mother and father are there speaking in Chinese to their son. Don't be scared, honey. It's healing you. Just relax. Wait, what's happening? Someone, please help. Outside the lab, we can hear Otto and Norman arguing behind a glass door. I thought this was just a consultation, comes Otto's voice. The boy seemed ready, says Norman. I'm going in there. No, you can't. It's too late. Lee's father screams. Make it stop. Help! The young Martin shakes with uncontrollable energy, which explodes, obliterating his parents. Yeah. From behind the glass, and you can just see the little boy negative sitting on his own in the room. And from behind the glass, we hear Otto's voice. What have you done?
I mean, that's a villain origin right there.
That checks out. That feels like that was coming.
Norman's fault. MJ realizes the same thing. Oh my god. Norman and Otto, they started all of this. They created Lee. She downloads the video file and is like spooked by a spider and knocks over because it like jumps against the glass, and she knocks over another container in the process, and we see the spider like crawl onto her shoulder, and she's like, Silver Sable comes in and she's hiding behind the desk, and I've got a picture, the spider's on her shoulder and she's like, because she can't move.
Don't mind me, I don't want to be like Peter. I don't want to be like Peter.
Sable leaves and she like shakes it off her and sneaks through the apartment, but eventually she's discovered and cornered on the balcony by Sable and her balcony. I say balcony, it's like a penthouse garden, you know. It's like,
what a bad
it's like as big as mine. Yeah, top floor of the building. She gets to the edge and radios Peter. Hey, you ready? Too late. You're up. MJ throws herself from the edge of the skyscraper as Sable looks on furiously. Spider-Man swings in and catches her in his arms as the two swing away. You're crazy, he says. You're amazing, she laughs. Always gives me chills that.
First off, really, really cute. Second, gosh, I bet she's really glad that her ex-boyfriend has spider powers.
Yeah. The two regroup at Feast. where she tells Pete about Martin Lee and that Harry, his best friend, is sick. He reels from the news. It's a lot for a young spider to take.
Oh, okay, sure.
It's an early morning one. Somehow, Pete manages to put the blame for all this on himself. Of course. She tells him that he's not alone. If he can find Norman, he can find the cure. Thanks, partner, he says, looking back at her, and swings off into the night. And we see a furry little 8-legged friend from the lab crawl back over her shoulder.
So probably the one that will go bite Miles.
We head out. What in the world makes you think that?
What's next?
I could never know what's gonna make me think that.
Next scene.
It's not the bioelectricity and cloaking.
Next scene.
Anyhow!
Why is Miles just a better Spider-Man than Peter?
Anyhow! Spidey swings off, getting reports from Yuri that a helicopter, Norman's helicopter, has been shot down. We arrive at the scene, and Martin Lee is there. He kills all of Norman's guards who are protecting Osborn, and they take him hostage inside their lab. Spidey defeats the demons outside the lab. As he goes to open the door to make his way inside and rescue Norman, gunshots ring out behind him. You've harassed my men, destroyed my equipment, cost my client millions. Give me one good reason I should not kill you right now. Listen, Spider-Man says to Silver Sable, if the excellent accent didn't give it away. I don't like you, you don't like me, but Lee has your client inside this building right now, and he's gonna kill him if we don't do something. We can fight each other, or we can fight Lee, but not both. She lowers her guns. Does this mean we're good? You will help me secure Norman. After that, I make no promises. The two infiltrate the building, taking demons out as they go. She's badass. She's like flipping around the place, kicking guys, shooting them. She's very, very cool to fight along. An army of demons confronts them, and she tells them to go. She tells us to go and save Norman. I will talk to them. And the door closes behind her. Okay, Lee, no more running. This ends tonight. Lee's power has torn a hole through the building. As we make our way through, he surprises us, grabbing us and pulling us into the Shadow Realm.
It's time to duel.
We are in a sort of Shadow Realm version of the Feast Center, as if Martin's guilt, anger is ripping a hole through everything good he's ever done.
This just mirrors this kind of tear. Look a bit like a bat.
I knew you were going to say that.
A little bit.
Turn back, Spider-Man. This is between me and Osborn. I know about the accident. I know about what happened to your parents. The accident? Mr. Negative says. You sound just as clinical as Osborn. My parents died because of me. Because of what Osborn did to me. You're more than just your past. Don't let it control you. I tried so hard to make my parents proud. To honor their legacy. But to truly honor them, Osborn must see justice. I won't let you do this, Martin. We make our way through this.
I'm kind of on Martin's side here.
Yeah.
Kind of on Martin's side here, man.
Right. We make our way through this representation of Lee's darkness, eventually reaching its heart. Memories float in the air around us. A demon mask, a picture of Lee's parents. Touching the photo gently leads everything to collapse in on itself, and we return back to the real world where we hear a scream. Moments earlier, Dr. Michaels finishes an anti-serum which he hands over to Lee. Lee smacks him across the face, and Norman pleads for their lives. Martin, look, I told you. I'm sorry. It was an accident. I was trying to help you. You don't help people. You use them. He begins to pierce Norman's throat with an energy sword, cutting into it. Norman screams. This is the scream we heard. Spidey webs away Martin Lee's hands. Martin, this won't bring your parents back. Why do you insist on trying to save this piece of scum? I'm trying to save you, Martin. Don't let revenge win. Fight it. Martin emits a wave of energy, and Spider-Man is thrown across the lab. The final fight begins. Fight it, Martin. You can walk away. Osborn must suffer. He transforms into a giant energy demon. Oh yeah, I've got it here. Monster. There we go.
Yeah. Oh, he looks great.
A negative energy demon. I know you can beat the demon, Martin, Beat the demon. I am the demon. We beat him. The last one shot is really cool. We like web up either side, on either side of the demon, pull ourselves through its face and body, kicking Martin in the face. And this very Spidey's in a very 90s pose here. I really like it.
Nice.
Lee lies defeated on the ground, no more energy. It's kind of implied that there's a bit of a battery and he's exhausted it. He pulls out the antidote from his hand. He's not quite offering it to Spider-Man, but it's like, you beat me. And it's in his hand. And he tells us one last time, Osborn needs to pay. I know, but this is the wrong way, Martin. We grab the antidote from his hand. Lee, Osborn, and Spider-Man all look up as the sound of metallic footsteps ring out overhead. The roof peels back to reveal Doc Ock, who descends to the ground, smacking Lee across the room with a tentacle. Useless! He pins Spider-Man onto the ground.
What a shot.
The two men scramble desperately, Otto growling and screaming like an animal. Finally, he traps Spider-Man in his claws, taking possession of the serum. Otto? Norman's voice cuts across the scene. He's not seen Otto like this. Otto looks up, dropping Spider-Man immediately. Spidey's like unconscious. He's had the shit kicked out of him by this point. Otto wraps a tentacle slowly around Norman. That look on your face. You can't imagine how satisfying it is. Ready for your final act? With that, he carries Norman away through the hole in the ceiling, Norman screaming all the way. Sable and Dr. Michaels find Spider-Man in a pool of his own blood. He needs a hospital. No, not a hospital. Feast. They rush him to Feast main entrance.
I'm hungry. Give me a meal. I'll be fine.
They arrive and Miles is in charge. They get there and he's unconscious. And Dr. Michaels, she's where's Aunt May gone? She's there. And Dr. Michaels is like, where are your doctors? And Miles is like, we don't have any. And Dr. Michaels is like, fine, I've not done this in a while, but I am a doctor.
I did used to do shots and nothing but shots.
Michaels operates on Spider-Man. He doesn't take his mask off and he saves his life.
How does that work?
Well, you can operate on the abdomen. The mask is separate from the rest of the suit.
So this is when we get the shot of him in his spider boxers and the mask. Of course.
Pretty much.
Aunt May walks into him in his spider box and goes, I bought my nephew Peter those last week. He'll be so happy to know his favorite hero shares the same boxes.
What's English?
So, a few hours later, Peter comes to. MJ is there waiting for him. He immediately asks where May is, and MJ looks troubled. They go into the next room, where Aunt May lies unconscious under with an IV plugged in.
Oh no!
They say she could go at any minute. Where are you going? I need to find Otto. He has the anti-serum. I don't know if I can beat him. His voice completely breaks down. Maybe you can't, MJ says. Maybe Spider-Man needs a little help from his friend Peter. What? Peter helped build those arms, remember? If anyone can find a weakness, it's him. And she looks at him. Go get him, Tiger.
He's not a tiger, he's a spider.
Well, that's her catchphrase, though. She calls him Tiger, seriously.
He's not a tiger.
Look at Neil's face. That is sincerely made MJ's catchphrase for the comics. Yeah, go get him, Tiger.
So we now, as if there wasn't enough reason to now get the anti-serum, if we don't get it, May's gonna die.
Yeah.
As Pete leaves to go out and figure out a way to stop Ock, our furry little friend climbs down MJ's arm. He's just been hanging about there, and he goes for a wee wander around Feast.
Hysterical.
In another room, Miles is sorting through boxes. And he's like, is it this one? Not this one. Not this one. He feels a sharp sting in his hand, and he smacks something. And in his hand is our little spider, which he's killed, unfortunately.
So I was just giving you powers. You dick.
Yeah.
Enjoy the electricity.
Spidey heads out. MJ is right. I built the neural interface. That means I can destroy it. There must be something in the lab I can use. We get a call from Silver Sable. Spider-Man, hello. Man, I gotta change this number. I must leave New York. Recent events have given me pause. Your rescue of Osborn, despite his hatred, it affected me. I must return home. reflect on this life I choose. Dang, I'm gonna miss you and your death troopers. Unfortunately, my agents will stay. Though I question our work, they do not, and Osborn continues to pay. I'm sorry. So close to being good news. Indeed. I will miss you and your bizarre witticism, Spider-Man, until we meet again. What a strange, violent lady, he thinks as she hangs up. We arrive at the lab. You can see Pete is beaten up here.
Oh, his suit's looking great.
Well, I'll help make it. We did the impossible, Doc, but now I have to destroy it with a little creation of my own. We get a classic Sam Raimi style montage as Peter works on a new suit. One that can take down his hero, the anti-Ock suit.
Yes.
I don't have a graphic, but I guess this is technically our final swing or miss. Here we go. The anti-Ock suit.
What do you think?
Yeah, swing. I like it.
Yeah,
it looks a lot like the one that I said earlier looked like a Black Panther suit.
Yeah.
Except just with a
So this is like metal platings. This is on top of his regular suit. This is like an armor on top. Yeah.
They're supposed to be like tear resistant, basically, right?
And the associated power with this, so we haven't covered much of the gameplay stuff, but as Monty mentioned earlier, a lot of them have associated powers. The associated power with this one is refill, which refills your gadget slots. Because basically, you need a fuck ton of gadgets to take down Ock. We cut across town, where Doc Ock is slowly and deliberately scaling the side of Oscorp Tower. Norman in his arms. It's raining, and Norman can just make out his own reflection in the glass of the building, his visage being cracked and shattered by Octavius's arms as they make their way up to the roof.
Thank you, ray tracing.
Yeah. News helicopters circle as Otto holds Osborn over the edge of the roof. You want me to beg? Not gonna happen! The world will know the truth before they mop you off the pavement. He tightens the arm around Norman, who yells in pain. Otto holds a phone up to Norman's face. He will have his final confession. Tell them what you did. Never! Everything you have is built on lies! Lies! And he drops him like a few hundred feet before catching him again. Classic. Pulls him back up, this time by his foot. You stole my company, my ideas. Now, the truth. The truth, Norman says. Okay, the truth is, you were only ever worth a damn when you worked for me. The truth is, you could never accept that I'm better than you. You're a failure, Otto, and you always will be. Otto screams in his face, overcome with rage, and just straight up lets him go, letting him fall towards his death. Norman screams.
Fair.
Right before he hits the ground, he's thrown to a neighboring roof by our intrepid Spider-Man. Spider-Man, like, dumping him and sprinting straight up the side of Oscorp Tower. Norman allows himself...
Let him splat.
Norman allows himself a slight smile as he watches Spider-Man leave. The moment has come. Peter arrives on the roof. Give me the anti-serum. Otto, you worked your whole life to help people. Please. You're fighting the wrong man, but have it your way. I'll turn over the anti-serum when Osborn pays for his crimes. He always bounces back. He has to lose everything. I see you have a new suit. It won't help. I know your weaknesses. I have no weaknesses. You're wasting my time. Osborn's the criminal, not me. I'm trying to help you. You're only hurting yourself. I've lost all patience with you. You're pathetic. Liar. Just like Osborn. Nothing but lies. What happened to the man who wanted to help people? The weakling? The loser? He's gone. Enough playing. Otto throws everything at us. We have to use every gadget in the arsenal to stop his tentacles. So we're like trying to web them up, trying to electrify them, and eventually, occasionally, we get a window to hit him a couple of times. Spidey manages to land on Doc's back, desperately trying to pull the neural interface from his neck. Doc's claws close sadistically around his wrists, the points piercing Pete's web shooters and destroying them. No webs. So we don't have our web shooters. We're fighting on this kind of, what would you call it, like a what's a tower for like signal, like an antenna tower.
Oh yeah, massive
almost,
like
massive,
electricity power. Yeah.
on the top of the roof, fighting our way around it, and Otto smashes a claw across Spidey's face, and he turns his face away, and Spidey's mask is cracked, and his face is partly exposed.
Oh.
Peter keeps his back turned, suddenly terrified of his twisted former friend learning the truth. But he doesn't have to turn around. Such a disappointment, Parker. You knew? I tried to warn you, Peter, but you didn't listen. This is too much for Peter, who, screams. You knew! I wouldn't let you win. This means too much to me. Not more than it means to me! He throws himself at Otto and, straight up rips one of his arms off. The raw strength and rage, he fully rips one of the arms in half. And the two men, there's an explosion in the building, and the two men fall off the side, landing on the side of the building. So yeah, for a while, Ock has known in the last few days, and has still done everything he did.
Do you think it's in the last few days, or do you think it's the moment he thought he was the suit maker, he actually was like, no, you're Spider-Man?
It's up to interpretation, really.
I'd like to think that he's probably known the whole time.
Yeah.
And that he was just being like, you don't want to tell me, you're a good friend.
Yeah.
You're his suit maker.
But it's like the betrayal here is like everything you've done and you knew the whole time. Yeah, it's pretty fucked. Yeah. Peter fights his way through Doc's scrambling arms. They're literally vertical on the side of this building, held up by their respective powers. You'll never understand. You haven't suffered like I have. You should be on my side. I was. Please think of the man you were. That man is gone. You can't save me, Peter. Then I guess you'll have to save yourself. You were my hero. You meant so much to me. I hate that you're making me do this. We were going to change the world. You look tired, Parker. Not tired. Just hurt. Otto manages to pin Peter to the side of the building with one of the claws just piercing its way into Peter's shoulder. It's really grisly. And Peter's holding it back with two hands, you can see. And it's just piercing his shoulder. Oh, Parker, if you want to change the world, you have to be the kind of man who can make the hardest decisions. Couldn't agree more. And with that, Peter lets the claw go all the way into him so that Otto can come close enough and he can rip the neural interface from the back of his neck.
Yeah.
Both men scream and fall from the building. As Peter plummets after him, his first thought is for the anti-serum, not for Otto. He manages to catch him, and they kind of throws him into some kind of there it is, going all the way at him. And he throws him into a kind of waiting office room where Otto lies defeated. Peter, I saw you as a son. I should have known you'd turn on me, just like all the others. Turn. Peter is fully sobbing, tears rolling down his face. I worshipped you, your mind, your conscience, wanting to help others, the way you never gave up. That's because men like us have a duty, a responsibility to use the talents in service of others, their talents in service of others, even if they don't appreciate. We have to do what we do. We have to do what's best for those beneath us, whether they understand it or not. No, you're wrong. You were everything I wanted to be, and you just threw it away. Yes, of course. You're right, Peter. The neural interface affected my mind, but we can fix it. We can fix it together. If you'll help me, I'll do everything I can. I'll make sure you get the best help. And Peter turns to walk away. No. If you put me away, they'll take my arms. I'll be trapped in this useless body. Please, Peter, that wasn't me. You said you'd never abandon me. You promised, remember? And of course, his face twists sadistically. You'll rest easy knowing your secret is safe with me.
Oh, God.
Peter looks at him one last time. You do what you think is best, Doc. It's all any of us can. We turn away, leaving the broken man lying helpless. Peter! Even when it hurts like hell. Peter, where are you going? And the scene fades. Yeah.
There's a lovely little... So the question, the debate around Ock Chase is, how much of this was in there from scene 1. You know, how much of this monster was in there. And I think that you and I are pretty aligned on, like, the rage and the hatred was always buried deep.
Yeah, and I think in every single person there are conscious or subconscious things that they would never ever consider doing, but those thoughts are there.
Yeah, just got rid of his moral limiters.
Yeah.
There's a lovely tiny little detail. Just I was waiting for a good point to raise it, but I wanted to for all the information.
I didn't notice this.
I mean, it's tiny. It's because I've been replaying the game recently. So on the whiteboard in the lab, in the first couple of scenes, you see like Octavius Industries, where Norman's written it up, and underneath are like silly little ideas for like what would the logo look like, or what would the phrase be, what would the motto be, and that changes right after Norman comes in and trashes the place, takes all the stuff, and then Otto was like, oh, we're going to change the direction of the company now. And if you go back to that whiteboard, you'll see, I mean, this is before he starts to snap or starts to do arm stuff. It's just when he starts thinking we're going to go in a new direction, it changes. And the motto on the whiteboard is, giving you the world you deserve. And it's like that little double meaning of like, well, at the time, it's like, oh, it's the transhumanist world that he envisions as a utopia. Or is it just, fuck everyone and we're going to rain hell? Tiny little, like, details there. Otto is the best characterization in the entire franchise so far, I would argue.
We leave him there, now truly trapped in a useless body almost of his own creation. Back at Feast, Dr. Michaels is studying the anti-serum. It's still viable, he says, but we'll need the entire sample as a base to produce more doses. How long will that take? A few hours, maybe a day? Spider-Man turns to him. What if we use it to cure someone right now? Then there won't be enough to cure the others. I'll give you a few minutes. Peter looks out the window at the other sick patients in the centre. Aunt May stirs behind him. Peter leans down to her, his voice frail. You're going to be okay, ma'am. I've got the cure right here. She turns to face him. Take off your mask, she whispers. I want to see my nephew. Peter pulls off the mask, his eyes full of tears, as May smiles up with him in pride. You knew? I've known for a while. I never wanted you to worry. I did, and I'm so proud of you. Ben would have been too. All the people you've saved. I don't know what to do. Yes, you do. May collapses back into the pillow, coughing, as Peter makes for her IV drip. Holding it in one hand and the life-saving serum in the other, he stays like that for a moment, shaking and breathing hard, before realizing what has to be done. He puts the serum down and collapses by May's bed as she passes, his sobs filling the air as the heart monitor beeps one last time.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Fuck.
This scene always
Makes me cry every single time. I want to see my nephew. Makes me cry every single time. Over the coming days, the cure is dispersed throughout the city in an effort led by Rio Morales and Dr. Michaels, supported by Miles. MJ, Pete, and Miles attend May's funeral together. Her grave is next to Ben Parker, with an inscription reading, "When you help someone, you help everyone." We see Otto being taken into a secure cell at the raft, powerless and defeated. He stares into the camera as the screen goes black. 3 months later. Interior, cafe. So, Peter says, "Hi, Mary Jane Watson, associate editor." "Congrats, I knew you could do it. What about you? Find a job yet?" No, says Peter. "But, I was considering maybe a career change. Yeah, I was thinking I might want to become a chef." MJ, coughs in surprise. "I'm sorry, no, it's just, you're a scientist. You're a good one. The last project I worked on created a monster octopus that almost destroyed the city, so... I mean, yeah," MJ says, "you do make a hell of a chicken curry." "I do. Still working on my dumplings, though," he says.
Oh, got him! Got him!
Peter's got bags with him, and she asks him if he's going camping. "Oh, no, my new place isn't going to be ready for about a week, so I'm going to be crashing with Miles for the next few nights."
Besties.
MJ looks kind of shyly down and goes, "Oh, I mean, you can always stay at my place, only if you want to. And Pete's like, no, I mean, yes, I don't not want to, meaning I do want to, only if you do. MJ looks down and looks up at him smiling. I never stopped wanting to.
Oh, great line.
Me neither, he says. And they kiss.
Yeah.
And this, yay. Yeah. And we cut to credits. Post-credit scene.
Oh.
It's the one I said it was going to be. Almost. He's technically already gotten bitten.
Peter and Miles are bringing furniture into Pete's new apartment. And they're clearly having a conversation about a girl or something outside, because Peter's like, well, I'm not an expert or anything, but I think it's in the way that you ask her. And Miles is like, I'm a little too nervous. All right, where do you want this?
Pete clearly could take the entire weight of that.
Yeah. Because it would be weird if no one helped him move into his flat.
I love that they've become besties.
So they're getting everything loaded in, and Miles goes, Pete, yeah, I kind of got to talk to you about something I can't tell my mom about. He goes, yeah, what's up? Weird things have been going on, like, physically.
Oh, God, no, he thinks it's everything.
And Pete goes, oh, well, you're at that age where your body starts to change. And so you may just be noticing some areas, for example. No, it's not that. It's not that. It's better that I just show you. And he crouches down, and we just see Pete's face as he looks up and smiles at the roof. Miles is sticking upside down.
Does Miles know at this point that Pete's Spider-Man?
No.
Oh. And he goes, he's the only male figure in his life. And he goes, it's pretty weird, right? Pete does the same. And he tells him, not that weird. And we cut to black.
Which means that
that's a good ending.
Both of them were pretending that desk was too.
Yeah, I hope this happened early in the move.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Can you imagine?
Post-credit 2.
Oh shit!
Meanwhile, Norman enters the secret lab at his apartment. The container in the lab opens, revealing a young man suspended in black liquid.
Black liquid?
Well, black goo inside green liquid.
Is that symbiote?
Norman's face is bathed in green as he looks, eyes full of desperation and sorrow. We were so close. But I'll keep trying. I'll find the cure. I will. I love you, son. He places his hand on the glass, and a black tendril of goo reaches out on the other side to meet it. Done.
Ha! Not right. I mean, obviously this is, meant to be a Green Goblin thing as well. Didn't expect Harry to have the symbiote. That's a weird one.
How are we feeling about Spider-Man, Chase?
I dig it.
A swing or is it a miss?
It's a swing! Let's go.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it.
I was telling Neil on a break that of all the games that we've done, this is the one that I'm most likely to pick up, just because it seems fun, and because I haven't played a swinging Spider-Man game since PS2.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad.
Just want to swing about.
Any final thoughts, Monty?
No, I love this game. Is there any more Spider-Man?
Spider-Man.
Why don't we have a little tease of what's to come next?
Tease me.
So, you swinging solo now? Or back with your ex?
That's a lot of questions.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, I hear that's bad for cats.
What did we think of that tease, folks?
Oh, I sure can't wait to see some sexy hot leather action and weird relationship stuff.
Oh, right, I got you.
So, what? Excuse me? Excuse me?
Bye, everyone.
Oh,